Immortal Cultivation. I run an internet cafe in another world. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 301, See-Through. At this time, Bai Luo did not doubt that they were fake and continued to walk in that place because Bai Luo believed from the bottom of his heart that they would not do bad things. So they walked and came to a room where no one was. At this time, Shadow Bunny was very happy, so he called Bai Luo and said to him, "There is no one in here, let's go in now, and after taking the things inside, we will leave from this place. You two should be able to put some things in your place. Anyway, no one will take care of these things, and no one will care about them." After saying this, Bunny planned to lead Bai Luo and the others in, and Bai Luo finally realized that they were going to take him and Ao Yang Chen to do bad things. So at this time, Bai Luo and Ao Yang Chen both refused them and stayed there. At this time, Bai Luo and Ao Yang Chen finally realized that they were fake. So Bai Luo was more determined in his previous thoughts. "You are not the real Xiao Tu, Ao Yangzu and Leng Yu, right? You are fake, right?" After Bai Luo questioned this, he realized that he had been deceived by these fake people in front of him for a long time and even drove away the sane girl and the great elder. For Bai Luo, this was an unforgivable mistake. And the culprit of all this was these fake people in front of him. Bai Luo then realized that they might be the legendary shadows. So Bai Luo looked at these people in front of him and couldn't help but want to take a closer look at their faces. Those shadows knew that Bai Luo had seen through their identities, so they no longer disguised themselves. So the shadow standing in front of Bai Luo, Xiao Tu, laughed loudly, and a ferocious look appeared on his face, which made Bai Luo think that this was definitely not Xiao Tu. Xiao Tu would never do such a thing. "How come you just realized it now? Isn't it a bit too late? You have been successfully manipulated by us. Didn't you notice that there is one person missing here? I'm fake. Ao Yangzu is fake. Leng Yu is also fake, which means that your little rabbit has disappeared long ago." Bai Luo was shocked after hearing this. He really didn't expect that the little rabbit in front of him was actually impersonated, and Leng Yu and Ao Yangzu were still in the Holy Land. This was really unacceptable to Bai Luo. "Where did you take the little rabbit? Hand it over quickly, otherwise, I will not let you go easily." After Bai Luo said this, he had already condensed a certain amount of power in his palm, intending to attack them directly later. After all, Bai Luo's anger value was about to soar to the top. He really didn't expect that these shadows would dare to attack his friends. The little rabbit had been missing for so long, and he actually just discovered it. Bai Luo hated himself very much now. Why didn't he find out the truth that they were the shadows at the beginning? Otherwise, Xiao Tu would not have left this place. So Bai Luo was very excited at this moment. Ao Yang Chen was also very angry. He turned his head and looked at Ao Yangzu and Leng Yu, who were laughing wildly in that place. He realized that they had already united together, so they had to knock them all down next. Otherwise, it would not be so easy to solve. Anyway, no matter what, you can't be our opponent. Why bother to say these things here? At this time, the shadow Ao Yangzu was very confident. She came in front of Bai Luo and continued to say to Bai Luo and Ao Yang Chen, "Let's say you two come together. You are not our opponent, so don't worry." After saying this, Bai Luo looked at the face in front of him that was almost exactly the same as Ao Yangzu's. He didn't know what to say. He wanted to attack such a face right now, but he didn't know whether he should do it now. Bai Luo was still waiting for an opportunity, and those shadows might be too arrogant, thinking that Bai Luo was not their opponent, so they were ready to attack Bai Luo, and they always felt that the strength of the three of them could completely defeat Bai Luo. So at this time, they really underestimated Bai Luo's strength, and Bai Luo also understood at this time that if he didn't show them some color, let them really realize what kind of identity he was, they would definitely continue to laugh at him in this place. So at this time Bai Luo began to exert his own strength, and saw him quickly condense his strength and spread it out little by little. Just like last time, freezing all the people in the entire area. This is the most powerful point of Bai Luo, which is not something that others can achieve, and those shadows are ready to take action. They waved the power in their hands, wanting to attack Bai Luo and the others, but they underestimated Bai Luo's strength, and ignored the fact that Bai Luo's strength was dozens of times higher than theirs. Their strength could not be exerted at all, and they could only passively endure it in that place. What's going on? Why can't I stretch out my power? Could it be that all this was really done by Bai Luo? Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar released this novel for the first time. At this time, when they said this, they were all shocked. They never thought that things would be like this. This was a blow to them. Shadow Bunny and Shadow Aangzu struggled hard in that place, but no matter how they struggled, their bodies still stood there, like a piece of wood, and there was no way to move at all. So this was simply a shocking bad news for them. What on earth did you do to me? Bai Luo, let us go quickly, or we can compete fairly. Why do these little tricks here? Bai Luo looked at them with disdain and laughed. Bai Luo's good temper had disappeared completely. Once he thought of these people killing those elders, and slandering all this to his friends. They drove away the saint and the elder, because of these shadows, and Zio too was also captured because of them. With all this hatred added together, Bai Luo wanted to kill them right there, and at this time, the shadows also realized that they had no way to defeat Bai Luo in this place, so the only thing they could do now was to run away quickly. In order to save their lives, they had to evacuate as soon as possible, so they didn't want to gather their strength to attack him anymore. When they saw that Bai Luo was about to use those powers to attack them, the shadows fled frantically, using up their last bit of strength to escape from this place. Chapter 302 Escape. Bai Luo wanted to catch up, but he felt that such people were no match for him, so when they met again next time, Bai Luo would definitely be able to deal with them, but this was a huge blow to Bai Luo. Looking at the shadows that had already run away, Bai Luo and Aangchen sat on the ground in a somewhat decadent manner. They would never have thought that things would turn out like this. We are so stupid. We didn't even see these things. This is simply too outrageous. Why did it turn out like this? Where is the little rabbit? When Bai Luo said these words, he pinched his head with both hands. He didn't know how to say it. The pressure was also doubled. He could feel that these things had completely deviated from Bai Luo's original plan. Now they didn't know how to solve these things. Aangchen didn't know how to comfort Bai Luo, because even he himself was a mess, and didn't know where these things were going. We also drove away the Saint and the Great Elder, and we also doubted them. Just because these few fake people slandered the Saint and the Holy Land in that place, we just believed them. It's really unfair to them. After saying this, Bai Luo felt very ashamed, and remembered the words and eyes of the Saint before she left. Bai Luo felt that he had no face to see the Saint and the Great Elder again. Because what they did was too shameful. After they doubted others in this place, they found that they just didn't trust them too much. Even if someone said a few more words in this place, they would think it was right. So at this time, Bai Luo didn't know what to say. He could only stay here quietly, and now they would not fight for anything. Bai Luo and the others had to stay here first. Aangchen and Bai Luo leaned against each other. The two did not speak, but sat quietly in this place. They must think about what to do next. After all, they are like a small boat on an isolated island, not knowing where to drift. If someone can show them a clear way, then Bai Luo can continue to go on. Otherwise, they would rather not do anything, and give up everything. This is the effect they have been insisting on for so long. So now Bai Luo and Aangchen began to close their eyes and rest in this place. Only in this way can they really think of a better solution for these things. Now Bai Luo also understands that he does not need to hesitate in this place. They still have to find the Saint as soon as possible. If they can't find the Saint, then they have no way to tell the Saint all this and seek forgiveness from the Saint. Let's go to the Saint and the Elder. We made the mistake first. We apologize to them as soon as possible. Maybe we can strive for their forgiveness. After Bai Luo said this, Aangchen nodded heavily. He thought so in his heart. After all, in his opinion, they did something wrong. They slandered the Saint and the Elder and drove them away. If we meet them, will they refuse to talk to us? After all, we have gone too far. If it were me, I would understand. I don't want to have any conversation with those who don't believe in me, because I have already felt that there is no place for me in their hearts. And now Bao Yangchen's words made Bai Luo even more unsure of how to solve the problem. Bao Yangchen saw it more clearly than him. Even if the two of them met the saint, they didn't know how to apologize to her. After all, the saint had done so many things, but was still suspected by Bai Luo and the others. No one could accept this fact. So the saint must be extremely disappointed with Bai Luo and the others now. So even if she met Bai Luo and the others, she probably didn't want to have any communication with them. But even if this is the case, we have to see the saint. I promised them that I would help them find those who killed the elders, so I have to do it no matter what. After thinking about this, Bai Luo had made up his mind. He turned around and looked at Ao Yangchen face to face and continued to say to Ao Yangchen, "Don't you think so? Since we have done something wrong, we should not hide in this place. Instead, we should find the saint as soon as possible and say sorry to her. All this is because of us. Only then will the saint truly forgive us." After saying this, Bao Yangchen also understood that it seemed that Bai Luo's words were really right. Bai Luo's insights were a little more profound than his, so Bao Yangchen nodded. "Yes, what you said makes sense. Let's go find the saint now. Do you have any clues to find the saint and the great elder? If we can track their location now, it should be easier to find them." After Bai Luo heard the clue that Ao Yangchen had given him, he began to use his power to spread around that place to see if he could detect the saint's breath. Once they detected their breath, they would go there directly and find the saint immediately. The saint didn't know that Bai Luo was looking for him again. Now the saint no longer thought about Bai Luo and the others, but continued to walk there with the great elder. They returned to the village again, and the villagers saw the saint and the others coming back, and said to them in shock, "Hey, why are you back? Didn't Bai Luo and the others say that you left first? Why are you back here so soon?" Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus BOOK_BAR published this novel for the first time. After hearing this, the saint did not say that they had a conflict with Bai Luo, but just said that they had come back and there were still some things that had not been resolved, so they had to stay in this place for a while. After hearing this, the people were very happy and began to prepare for them. Okay, if you need anything else, just tell us directly. We haven't occupied your room completely yet, so you can stay in the original place." After saying this, the saint and the great elder finally felt warm in their hearts again, and smiles appeared on their faces again. This kind of kindness is not so easy for the saint, so the saint likes this very much. Chapter 303 Search. The saint began to rest in that place. She could feel the importance of these things to her, so no one could change them easily. Otherwise, she didn't know what would happen because of these things. Once these things started to develop, it would be a very complicated result for them. Once they thought of these things, they had to think about them bit by bit. So now Bai Luo began to look for the saint and the others in that place. The saint and the great elder stayed in the village because the saint still felt that the scene where the elders were killed was the most important to investigate, and many things could be found there. They all felt that this was a waste of time at first, so they were a little too hasty, and later they didn't have the patience to do it. Now the saint felt that there were certain problems with their attitude. No matter whether these were difficult or not, they had to stick to the end. Only in this way could they know the final answer. If they give up at the beginning, they will really miss the truth. So the saintess will take the great elder and stay at the scene. They don't plan to watch from that place. Bai Luo used his power to spread around, but he didn't detect the breath of the saintess and others, so he was a little dejected. No, there is no sense of them. Could it be that they really returned to the Holy Land? This should be impossible, right? Bai Luo quickly rejected his guess. That was impossible. The saintess was so determined to find those who killed the elders. How could she leave this place? So they still have to continue working hard in this place. At this time, Bao Yangchenlian thought for a while and said to Bai Luo, "By the way, do you think they will return to that village where the elders were killed?" there, the saint lady may think that we can find more clues about the elders. Why don't we go back to that village and have a try? If they are still there, wouldn't we have successfully found them? Our Yang Chen successfully reminded Bai Luo, and our Yang Chen's idea made Bai Luo very happy. You are right. Why didn't I think of this? You make sense. That should be the only place where we can find some clues. So we should go back now and tell the saint lady everything we have just experienced and sincerely apologize to her. The saint lady will definitely forgive us when the time comes. Bai Luo thought about this, and his heart was finally full of motivation, so they also quickly moved towards that place. In this way, they can leave this place without worrying about any problems in the middle. Bai Luo and his companions now wish they could quickly meet the saint and his companions and sincerely apologize to them, so that they can make up for the regrets in their hearts. Bai Luo and his companions still have a certain amount of courage, otherwise, like other people, they might have stopped saying anything long ago. Now, they have to persist in this place, because they have offended all of them. Now, Bai Luo and his companions are rushing towards the village, while the saint and the great elder are watching there. The great elder's inspection this time is much more careful than the last time. He is now fully focused on this thing. He has no way to do anything else. Now he can finally help the saint to find those things. The saint has searched this place for almost half a day, but has not found anything particularly useful. Those damn imitators are so powerful. They can hide everything. Is there someone supporting them behind the scenes? Otherwise, how could they achieve such an effect? After saying this, the saint understood completely that it seemed that they could no longer continue here, and they just needed to stay here. No matter what, we have to keep searching here to truly find the truth. So thank you for your hard work, and accompany me to search here. Hearing the saint being so polite, the great elder laughed out loud. He handed the food in his hand to the saint, and said to her, "You haven't eaten much these days. You're in a better mood today. Why don't you add more nutrition? You can't go without food all the time, otherwise, it will cause great harm to your body, and there is a high possibility that some accidents will happen." The great elder looked at the saint girl. It seemed that she had been hit hard by Bai Luo and the others these days, so she was very hesitant to eat. Today he could see that after returning here, the saint girl's mood had improved a little, so the great elder planned to take this opportunity to persuade the saint girl to eat more. In this way, the saint girl could be truly healthier. Now the saint girl also knew the great elder's good intentions, so she took the great elder's things and began to eat them in big mouthfuls. After seeing the saint girl's performance, the great elder was very happy in his heart, so he said to the saint girl, "Don't worry, there are still a lot here. If you are not full, tell me and I will give you all these things." After saying this, the two people continued to talk in that place. It can be felt that the atmosphere they have now is really very good. They all think that each other is very important. So with such an atmosphere, it means that they can stay in this place safely until the end, and they don't even have to worry about any other mistakes in the middle. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book underscore bar first published this novel. So after thinking of this, they can stay in this place quietly and wait until these things change. Now they can rest for a while and then continue searching. Bai Luo and his friends also quickly returned to the village. Sure enough, they found that the villagers were still here. Seeing them packing up in that place, Bai Luo also accelerated and came to the front of those villagers. Those villagers felt a gust of wind blowing. They turned their heads and saw Bai Luo and our Yang Chen again. They were very happy. "You are back too. This is really great." Bai Luo caught the keywords in his tone. "You said, who else is back too?" After hearing this, the people at this time said to Bai Luo, "The saintess and the great elder have also returned and are continuing to search the scene. Didn't you say they left early? I didn't expect them to come back again." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304 Apology. After saying this, Bai Luo was extremely happy, so he thanked the man and said to him, "Let's go find the saintess first and come back to tell you later." After saying this, those people didn't say anything, so they let Bai Luo go there. Bai Luo and our Yang hurried to the scene and indeed found that the saintess and the great elder were sitting there eating. At this time, the two of them felt a familiar breath appearing here and tacitly turned around to see Bai Luo and our Yang. After finding that it was Bai Luo and our Yang, the two of them turned around at the same time. From such actions, it can be felt how much the saintess and the great elder didn't want to see Bai Luo and our Yang. At this time, the two people had no choice but to walk to their side step by step. Just when the two were about to leave this place, they were stopped by Bai Luo. Bai Luo said in that place, "I'm sorry, Saint. I'm sorry, Great Elder. We shouldn't doubt you. I shouldn't have listened to the slander of those shadows and thought that you really did something to us. I really didn't expect that they were pretending. They are not the real Zhao2, Baiyangsu and Lengaiyu, but those shadows. So I listened to them and doubted you. I'm really sorry. I hope you can forgive me once." After Bai Luo said this, he bowed to them very sincerely in that place. However, the saint and the great elder still did not make any remarks, and our Yang also said to them, "I also have some problems. I shouldn't have kept silent. Saint and great elder, I'm really sorry. I hope you can forgive us. It's just that those shadows are too strong. They pretended to be those people and said those words. Bai Luo and I were emotional. But no matter what, we shouldn't be so suspicious of you two. We apologize for what we said just now. If you want to punish us, you can just say it directly. We will never resist." Bai Luo said these words and continued to lower his head, waiting for their response. No matter what their request was, Bai Luo would listen carefully, so now he showed his greatest sincerity. After hearing what Bai Luo said, the saint understood. It seemed that Bai Luo and the others were also deceived. So now the saint could understand why Yangzu and the others said so decisively about something she had not done. It turned out to be because of those shadows. What they did was to provoke the relationship between him and Bai Luo, so seeing this situation yesterday, they should have been the happiest. Now, they didn't expect that they would be discovered so soon, so the saint was a little relieved at this time. At least it could prove that they did not do anything to Bai Luo's friends. After all, these people believed in etiquette. How could they attack guests? Now the saint said coldly at that place, "You know now, I have already said that neither I nor other elders will take any measures against you, and they will not attack you." But they said it so decisively at that time. For us, it is really very angry. Even if you apologize now, I have to think about it. After all, you just rejected me, and rejected me so happily. Bai Luo, I really didn't expect such a change, so we left this place first. After saying this, the saint and the great elder left. At this time, the great elder was not so angry. He could hear Bai Luo's explanation, and he also knew what kind of character Bai Luo was. Now that he heard Bai Luo say that they would let them punish him, he knew that Bai Luo had made the biggest concession. So the great elder wanted to turn around, but was dragged away by the saint. The saint did not forgive Bai Luo, but just wanted them to feel the pain she had just felt. After a while, the saint would recover naturally. Now the saint had to work hard in that place, ignoring Bai Luo, so that Bai Luo could also feel the feeling of being ignored. Now they all left this place. Bai Luo and our Yang saw the backs of the saint and the great elder leaving, and the two could only continue to wait in that place bitterly. What do you think we can do to make them forgive us? We must take out something that is truly valuable to let them know that our apology is sincere. After all, Bai Luo felt that all this was worth it. What he did at the beginning was really too sad, so he had to let the saint and the great elder feel it. So now he had to find something useful. Bai Luo thought about it and remembered that he still had a coral in his pocket. That coral was not ordinary. The power in the coral could achieve the same method as Bai Luo, controlling the power of people around him. That is, it could stagnate people's power in a small range. In this way, the frequency of enemy attacks could be successfully slowed down, which was a good thing for them. So Bai Luo planned to give this thing to the saint to show his apology to him. At the same time, Bai Luo also understood that these things were not that simple. So if you pick too much, there will definitely be problems. It is better to develop little by little in the future, and there will definitely be no big trouble at that time. Bai Luo took the coral and went to the place where the saint and the elder disappeared. After Yang saw that Bai Luo had prepared something, he also took some things in his hand. This was also the best thing for them, and they didn't have to worry about anything next. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR published this novel for the first time. Otherwise, I don't know if there will be any other problems. Bai Luo and Yang soon arrived at the place where the saint and the great elder had left. At this time, Bai Luo spoke again and said to the saint, "Saint, can you listen to me again? I brought you a gift this time. I know you want me to be ignored. I can wait, but I want to give this gift to you first. I will continue to suffer and will not resist." After saying this, they can now understand that, since it is like this, there is no need to worry about it next. There will definitely be no bigger problems. Bai Luo can now successfully learn something here, which is enough. There is no need to argue about anything, otherwise, it will definitely affect something. So now the saint understood that Bai Luo did these things with his utmost sincerity, so the saint turned around, looked at Bai Luo, and said to him, "You finally realized it. You shouldn't have doubted me in the first place. We have known each other for so long, and you actually thought I would kill someone, and even hurt Yangzu. I really don't know what you were thinking. At the same time, those shadows are too stupid. They made up these things just to make people think that everyone here is sick." Chapter 305, at a loss. Now the saint understood Bai Luo's meaning, so when she heard what he said, she expressed sympathy. After all, they still needed to work together now, and Bai Luo's attitude was very sincere, which made the saint's heartache dissipate a lot. Now Bai Luo knew that he did do something wrong, so now he was obedient to the saint. As long as the saint said something, he would basically agree, especially now that they were together again and got rid of the previous problems. So now Bai Luo didn't dare to say anything else, for fear of destroying the current peaceful atmosphere. Now they all deeply understood the importance of these things, so no one wanted to get rid of them just like that, or have any conflicts because of them. After all, they had already determined these things from the beginning. Then they had to discuss it together. Bai Luo had to tell the saint that the little rabbit was missing, and the one who followed them was just a shadow, so now they didn't know where the little rabbit was. Now when Bai Luo said this, he was dejected. He didn't know why things turned out like this. He thought these things shouldn't be a big problem, but he didn't expect that these things had become a little complicated. So now Bai Luo had to lower his head in that place, not knowing how to say it. Bai Luo was now somewhat helpless. He didn't know where to find Xiao Tu, because those people ran very fast, and those shadows would disappear without a trace after they disappeared. In this way, Bai Luo and his friends couldn't determine the specific location of those shadows, so now they had no idea where Xiao Tu was. "You mean Xiao Tu is gone? I didn't expect them to take action so quickly. There must be other people helping them behind the scenes." Now Bai Luo and Yang had no choice but to nod their heads. Those shadows were obviously fighting in a group. Otherwise, why would there be so many stand-ins in this place? Was it because they were still producing them behind the scenes? Among them, they might have to not replicate Bai Luo, because those people had no way to get Bai Luo's ability. Others could imitate him. In this way, they had to find a place. Then the saint and the great elder who suddenly appeared in this place, because they are likely to be restrained by those people to produce shadows. Now Bai Luo and the others do not know what the specific operation method is, but the only thing Bai Luo can judge is that once their shadows disappear, it means that they have created new shadows. So they must be careful at that time. After all, they use shadows to copy people who are exactly the same as themselves, so as to command them to do some unreasonable things. In this way, they can also put all the responsibilities on themselves. In this way, they can completely avoid being punished. Bai Luo, every time he thinks of this, Bai Luo feels that they are too powerful. It is probably not something that can be achieved in a short time, to think of such a method. So Bai Luo is thinking, will this be some ancient secret method? After all, no matter how you think about it, it is not a move that ordinary people can get. It must have been passed down for a long time, and those people have only started to use it during this period. However, this method is basically not so easy to crack. After all, those people who made things thousands of years ago have long died here, so how could they tell them how to crack it? So this has become a difficult problem. Bai Luo had no other options at this time. They just sat there, silent to each other, because they didn't know what to say. The saint originally wanted Bai Luo to help him find those people. Now Bai Luo probably didn't have that idea anymore, so they still had to find a way to get rid of those people first. So they didn't need to continue looking for traces in this place now, since they had just witnessed the power of those shadows. So next they just needed to notify those people in the vicinity immediately, and no matter who they saw, they shouldn't listen to them, because Bai Luo and his men would no longer treat them well, like they did before. But those people pretended to be Bai Luo and his men. In this case, they had to notify all the people in the vicinity of these things in advance. Only in this way could they feel a sense of crisis and be prepared. Otherwise, those people might do something behind their backs. In that case, it would be a huge crisis for them, especially since they had understood these things so far, and now Bai Luo knew the importance of these things even more. Bai Luo recognized the strength of the saint. After all, he believed that both the saint and himself possess great power. With the saint's status, he should have many secrets in his hands. If he could use his secrets to solve these problems, it would be easier. So at this time, Bai Luo could only temporarily put his hope on the saint. After all, behind the saint was the Holy Land. In that ancient and mysterious place, there must be many secrets hidden. Who knows, there might be what they need. Once they find those things, they will most likely get the final answer and find a way to crack these shadows. Let's not sit here. Anyway, we can't find anything here. Why don't we leave this place first, go back to the village and rest for a while, and then continue? Since those shadows are targeting us, they must be coming for me. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar released this novel for the first time. After Bai Luo analyzed this, he could only come to this conclusion. Otherwise, why did they keep hovering around Bai Luo? Wasn't it just to drive away all the close people around him and attack Bai Luo? After Bai Luo thought about this, he felt that only this reason could make it all come together. The saint understood what Bai Luo meant. He was thinking about this at the beginning. If it was really created by people from other realms, then their target was indeed only Bai Luo. After all, Bai Luo's power was too strong. Bai Luo and the demon realm were in a confrontation, so they would definitely not let them go easily. These created shadows should be from Bai Luo in the demon realm. Since he had such a great ability, it proved that he would encounter more and more enemies. What you said makes sense, so we will be together from now on. Since they want to destroy the relationship between us again, they will definitely come out again. They will not leave this place easily. Chapter 306 Analysis. The saint now understood all these things. Although the great elder had not spoken, all his actions would be in accordance with the saint's arrangements. As long as the saint forgave Bai Luo, the great elder would also forgive him. But Bai Luo was still very formal. He bowed to the great elder and said to him, "I'm so sorry. I really shouldn't have asked you that question. You are my senior, and you forgave us without holding a grudge. Now I have made such a joke. Please forgive us." After hearing this, the elder understood Bai Luo's meaning. He naturally wouldn't say anything more because of these things. He knocked on Bai Luo's head and said to Bai Luo, "If there is another similar thing next time, you must think about it. The saint and I will never do those dirty things. So anything that is inconsistent with our behavior proves that they must be shadows pretending." Bai Luo now understands the true meaning of these things, so he nodded very firmly and didn't say anything. And from his expression, it can be felt that he has a certain understanding of these things. So no matter what, Bai Luo will definitely not let those shadows go. Now they have to find a way to find the little rabbit, because they don't know what those shadows will do to the little rabbit. Although Bai Luo knew that Zio 2 was very strong, Those shadows copied their strength, and when added together, they were definitely a tough opponent, so Bai Luo could only pray that they would not do anything too difficult to Zhao Tu, otherwise Bai Luo would never let them leave his hands easily. Bai Luo and his companions returned to the village. When the villagers saw them, they all looked sad. When they saw that only Bai Luo and his companions were here, they wanted to ask something, but they could feel that something must have happened in the middle. So they had to put away their curiosity and just continue to take good care of Bai Luo and his companions in this place. Bai Luo especially thanked them for their hospitality and naturally gave them some gifts. Otherwise, Bai Luo really felt a little embarrassed. After all, the things in his hands were provided by those villagers, and those villagers were really good to them. So Bai Luo would naturally provide them with some help. In this way, they would benefit each other and live better in this place. I'm afraid that we will have to disturb this place for a while in the next period of time. I'm really sorry everyone. I'm very grateful to everyone for letting us stay here. After Bai Luo said this, he bowed to the people. The people waved their hands, helped Bai Luo up, and told Bai Luo that they could stay here as long as they wanted. Bai Luo and his friends chatted with them for a few more words and returned to the house. Now they had no idea about the current situation, and the saint knew that they could not solve the problem if they remained silent. So the saint planned to use her special secret method to contact the remaining people in the Holy Land. Those people would definitely know something, and there were still many elders left there. So those elders might provide them with some help, but if the saint wanted to use this method to contact there, she had to wait until night. Only in this way, she would not be disturbed by the surroundings. Now that Bai Luo saw the sun was above their heads, he knew that he had to wait for a while before he could ask the Holy Land. Now they didn't know these things. The people who stayed there had been with Yangzu and Leng Yu, and they might have discovered some abnormalities. Unfortunately, they did not communicate in time, so they naturally did not avoid what happened just now. If Bai Luo and the others knew in advance that Yangzu and the others' shadows had disappeared, they would immediately understand that no one who came to this place could be trusted. Then Zhao Tu would not have disappeared because of this. Bai Luo felt that these things were causally related, so now he didn't know how to say it. Things have already happened. If he just kept complaining here, there would be no way to change them. Bai Luo had to think of a good way to complete their ideas, so every time Bai Luo talked about this, he could feel that he cared about these things. So as long as these things could be developed better in this place, no one would care about them. Next, Bai Luo had to work closely with the same girl, and then find out what was related to those shadows. And those shadows naturally fled from here. They would never have thought that Bai Luo could actually make them stay in that place and be hit hard. Those shadows knew that they had to improve their abilities, otherwise so many of them couldn't beat Bai Luo alone, which was really embarrassing. At this time, they finally discovered why Bai Luo couldn't copy it. How could they have such an amazing ability? Therefore, no matter how much those people wanted to attack Bai Luo, they had no way to destroy everything Bai Luo had, so they could only find another way to copy other people's shadows. In this way, they would definitely be a little easier. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR released this novel for the first time. However, the Saint and the Great Elder have learned their lesson now, and will not let others steal their shadows easily, so they will always pay attention to it, and once there is any abnormal movement, they will stop immediately. In this way, the plans made by the people over there will slowly fall through. They can feel that their current vigilance has increased, so they may need more technical moves next. Otherwise, they will not be able to destroy Bai Luo better. So those people can only slow down and see what Bai Luo and others will do next. Bai Luo now is hard to figure out, and no one knows what he is thinking. The Saint knows that Bai Luo is more troubled than she was just now. After all, Bai Luo is now blaming himself to a large extent. After all, he believed the lies of those shadows, which led to all this. If it weren't for the generosity of the Saint, they might not be able to cooperate this time. So now when Bai Luo thinks of this, he feels particularly upset. At this time, the Saint comforted Bai Luo there, telling him not to worry about these things anymore. Chapter 307 Layout. After all, they just gave some suggestions. If someone is really so serious, then it can only be his own problem, and they can't be blamed. So every time they think of this, they can clearly feel that their concern for these things is no longer something that ordinary people can handle. If they still want to change something in this place, it will not be so easy. Anyway, more and more things are happening in this place. As long as they can make some changes, then all this will not be so simple for them. Up to now, Bai Luo must think about these things carefully. It is good to have the saint and the elder to give him advice. Finally, it was night. At this time, the people prepared a big meal for them. Bai Luo just ate a little and sat aside. Those people also sent Bai Luo some desserts to relieve the greasiness in his mouth. After Bai Luo took those things, he thanked them again and again. He could feel their kindness, so in order not to disappoint their kindness, Bai Luo naturally ate a little. However, after Bai Luo ate some, he was not in the mood to eat anymore. He wanted to communicate with the people over there to see if they knew more information. He had to find Xiao Tu quickly. Xiao Tu had been with Bai Luo for so long, but Bai Luo really didn't expect that he would leave him one day and such a situation would happen. That's why Bai Luo is so decadent now. He felt helpless because he knew that he couldn't hold all this in his own hands. This feeling of powerlessness made Bai Luo not know what to say now. I can only bear all this silently in this place. Who can understand what these things mean? Anyway, Bai Luo can only put his hope on others now. After all, Bai Luo can't think of a good solution now. This is actually a very heavy blow to Bai Luo. If he can solve all this, it's fine. The saint understood that Bai Luo is the same as herself now. Unless there is something that makes him happy, other things are the same to him. So they will know what all this is after they really leave there. At this time, the saint felt that the time had come, and they could take advantage of this opportunity to contact the elders over there. So at this time, Bai Luo immediately guarded that place. He stood at the door, and Ao Yang Chen and he were guarding outside that place. The elder assisted the saint to perform the special secret method, because in this way, no one would know that they were communicating in the air in that place. If they were discovered, it is very likely that someone would come to mess up. Then the damage to both parties would be great. So Bai Luo and the others must ensure the safety of the saint and the elders over there. So Bai Luo is now concentrating and staring at this place all the time, just to let the saint communicate with the people over there. At this time, the saint used what she had learned and drew a few gestures in the air, only to see a beam of energy appeared in front of him, and then the energy became bigger and bigger, directly breaking through the distance they imagined, and soon revealed the scene of the people over there in the Holy Land. Only people like the saint can know all this. Even if other people see it, they have no way to understand how to use this force to achieve such an effect. So now they started to communicate in that place. The elders who stayed in the Holy Land were a little surprised. They didn't expect that the saint would call them, so they answered the call immediately. At this time, the saint naturally didn't stop and directly told them the specific situation. I want to tell you that those shadows have now split into Aoyangzu and Lengyu. That is to say, their shadows just came to this place and did some very bad things. Not only did they successfully provoke the relationship between me and Bai Luo, but they also took away the little rabbit. So everything is very dangerous now. I told you this because I hope you can be careful and don't be seen by others. Otherwise, all this will not be so easy to explain. And now the saint told them, when those shadows appear again, if they can find clues related to this, then they can succeed. At this time, the people in the Holy Land had understood what the saintess meant. They all said that Aoyangzu and Lengyu had been there and had not done anything else. At this time, Aoyangzu and Lengyu did not know that their shadows had already committed many evil things in that place. At this time, the elders knew that they could not tell all these things, otherwise, it would affect the mood of Aoyangzu and Lengyu. So the saintess told them these things. Since you know, then you must watch them carefully next, and you must always stay by their side. At this time, the great elder had already understood these things, so he told them in advance, and made certain preparations. So the great elder said to them, read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR first published this novel. You should have seen that the shadows of our Yangzu and Leng Yu have disappeared. After hearing what the elders said, the people on the other side nodded in shock. They didn't expect that the elders' guess was so accurate. Just now, they went to see and found that it was just as they expected. It really reached the level they wanted. So at this time, the elders were very obedient to the elders' words, because in the past, the elders' words were the most useful in the Holy Land, and everyone would act according to the elders' words. So when the elders said this, they understood that, since the shadows of those people had disappeared, their next target would be those ancient books. There must be something in those books. Hurry up and send someone to search that place, and after finding useful clues, come back and tell us. All this is very important to us, and there must be no mistakes. The elder now took care of everything in an orderly manner. The saint was not idle at this time, but watched with Bai Luo. They could all feel that these things were not so easy. So all they need to do next is stay in this place and continue to watch without having to worry about anything happening. Chapter 308 Contact. So now they have to stay connected in this place without any interruption, otherwise all their efforts will be in vain. So at this time, the saint and the great elder, naturally, they don't want to change anything easily from this place. They are all waiting for the answer from the Holy Land. They now understand that, since they have a way to solve these problems, Bai Luo finally doesn't have to worry like he did at the beginning. Otherwise, he is really afraid that these things will exceed his imagination. What Bai Luo is more worried about now is the safety of his friends, especially number 2. Now that number 2 is missing, this is simply the most important thing for Bai Luo at the moment, because once there is no way to successfully achieve these, then Bai Luo will have no motivation to continue to persist in this place. So the saint's connection has not been cut off, and Bai Luo and his team will naturally continue to protect this place. The strange light coming out of this village has attracted the attention of some people around, but they can all feel that the power contained in it is not something that one or two of them can defeat. So even if those people think this is a good business, no one dares to act rashly, because the person who can make such a thing is definitely not an ordinary person. If they really want to do something, then there will definitely be problems. It is better to observe here obediently. After the power is gone, they will pursue the victory. In this way, they may be able to get more benefits. It seems that they regard these things as very important and understand them very well. They must think about all of this in a complicated way and must not miss any details. Otherwise, for them, all of this has failed. So now they are very nervous. And Bai Luo is waiting for the answers given by the elders in that place. If they can find a way to crack the shadow technique, then they don't have to worry about encountering those shadows next time, and they can completely knock them down. Now Bai Luo has only such a wish in his heart. Gao Yangchen is afraid that Bai Luo will be too angry and hurt his body, so he grabs Bai Luo's hand and lets him sit there to rest. You have been standing there for a long time. Aren't you tired? If you have anything to say, don't keep it in there. Anyway, it shouldn't be a big problem if you just say it out. After saying this, it was obvious that they still had different opinions on these things, otherwise, it wouldn't be like this now. So Ao Yangchen was here to persuade Bai Luo, otherwise, he would probably have the same idea as Bai Luo. Bai Luo knew that everyone had their own ideas, and he certainly wouldn't ask others here. That's why Bai Luo was so calm, just doing his own thing, not wanting to get involved in too many things, because once he said too much, it would get him into trouble. And then for Bai Luo, it was really too unfortunate. He didn't want to get involved in any conflicts with those things. So at this time, Bai Luo was quietly waiting on the side, and the elders were concentrating on searching that place, but they looked through the books and didn't find any useful information. So they remembered the other things, but it might take a long time to finish reading them. So they had to talk to the saint first, but after hearing what they meant, the saint told them, "It doesn't matter, just keep in touch. When we have a clue, I will stop this, and then we will know what to do." The saint said so now, and of course the elders would not say anything. They all nodded and continued to search in that place. Bai Luo and Ao Yangchen were not idle. They did not rest that night and continued to work together in that place. The next morning, Bai Luo dozed off and almost fell off the chair. Fortunately, Dao Chen supported him in time. He said to Bai Luo, "Why don't you go back and rest? Anyway, these things can be solved by us. Don't worry too much about this place. I believe they can find a solution. We can definitely deal with all those shadows." Dao Chen is now the most important friend around Bai Luo. After all, here now, Bai Luo can only trust the saint, so Dao Chen is still very important to Bai Luo. So now after hearing what Dao Chen said, Bai Luo nodded and left this place happily. It can be seen that Bai Luo is easy to listen to some reasonable suggestions, unlike other people who are stubborn in this place. From this point of view, Bai Luo is much stronger than others, and the reason why Bai Luo is so tired is that the things he has experienced in this period of time have caused great damage to him. If it weren't for Bai Luo's strong strength, others would have fainted here long ago. Therefore, it is very good that Bai Luo can reach this level now. They don't need to force anything, otherwise, it is very likely to be too much. In addition, these things are what some people should do, and they don't need to say too much here. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR first published this novel. Then I will go back and rest. Saint Maiden and Dao Chen, you should also rest early. There is no need to persist in this place, otherwise, our bodies will collapse. After saying this, they now understood the meaning of Bai Luo's tone, so they all dispersed from this place and went back to catch up on some sleep. After all, standing in this place all the time could easily lead to some danger. So now they must understand all this, otherwise, they don't know what kind of problems will arise because of these things. Their understanding of each other on this matter has changed to a certain extent. The Saint Maiden listened to Bai Luo's advice very much. What Bai Luo said now was what the Saint Maiden was willing to listen to. As the elders of the Holy Land, their expertise is to read all kinds of information and extract the key points at the first time. However, they did not find anything after reading for a long time, so they could only read it again from the beginning. There are many books, so when they finish reading all this, they don't know how long they will have to wait, but they will not wait like this forever. The elders are now thinking of other ways. Chapter 309 Investigation. Bai Luo returned to his room, fell on the bed and fell asleep. He had experienced ups and downs in the past few days. He originally thought that Zhu came to this place to take care of him, but he didn't expect that she was pretended by a shadow, and he also quarreled with the saint. All of this made Bai Luo suffer a great shock. If it weren't for his good adjustment ability, I'm afraid I don't know what would happen. So for him, this is indeed a problem that cannot be solved. Now Bai Luo thought about it, and it was a mess. There was no way to change these things, so he could only rest in that place and escape from these annoying problems. Now Bai Luo is used to this, so even if he does these things, it will be very natural. The saint and the elder have gone back to rest. When they woke up again, it was already noon. Seeing that they were all resting in that place, the people naturally didn't dare to disturb them, so they divided the food into portions and placed them in front of them. In this way, Bai Luo and the others can eat what they want. So when Bai Luo saw them being so polite, he couldn't help but feel particularly touched. He could feel that they were really thinking about him here, so Bai Luo didn't know what to say. He could feel the kindness of those people, so he would naturally treat them well here. Don't worry, if we can solve those shadows, we will definitely make them disappear completely from your place and never let them appear again. Now every word Bai Luo said would be truly realized. After all, he was a person who kept his promises. As long as it was something Bai Luo could do, once he promised others, he would definitely do it. The saint and the great elder slowly walked out of the room. Although they ate a little yesterday, they were slightly better than others, and there was no big problem. So now Bai Luo could continue to discuss with the saint and the great elder. It seems that there was still no interest in yesterday's things, otherwise, they might have told us long ago. After Bai Luo said this, he didn't know what to say at this time. They are here now, not only to worry about the missing little rabbit, but also to worry about the innocent people who have not seen those shadows, especially the innocent people in various areas. If they still suffer the greatest damage and are misunderstood because of those shadows, then they don't know what to do. After all, this is too obvious and no one can take it. In this case, they must think of a more reasonable thing. Only in this way can they really say goodbye to all this. Otherwise, there will be another thing, and then they will be able to complete these things smoothly. At this time, Bai Luo and the saint gathered together again and continued to discuss what they thought was important. Bai Luo agreed with what they said now. Anyway, since we have confirmed that those people are shadows, next time we see someone we are familiar with, we will attack it the first time, and there will be no problem. They must have grasped your mentality, so they did this. So we have to observe first, before we can confirm it, otherwise, no one can find it at all. Now they just need to continue to persist in this place, and the final result will be as they expected. The Saint and the Great Elder have different powers, so they provided a lot of help on the way that Bai Luo and our Yang Chen were looking for. Now that they have a good relationship, they already know what to do next. They must quickly find the location of the little rabbit, but the Saint told Bai Luo that he had no way to determine the location of a person. He could only sense things related to him nearby. Apart from that, he had no way to detect anything else. Because once it was wrong, it would be easy for other problems to arise. Now Bai Luo and the Saint have been together all the time, and they don't want to discuss anything else. They only have one idea now, which is to find those things quickly, and they won't be able to determine them easily at that time. Now they can only run around in this place, and they can't stay there at all. Bai Luo can feel that they are too good at hiding in every fight with the shadows, and what they hide is something that some people will not notice. In this way, no one will find out that they are fake. So now they can dress up as someone else so easily in this place, so as to use a cheaper price. In this way, people will definitely feel very guilty. If nothing happened, then naturally there is no relationship. But since such a thing has happened, then all this is not as simple as they think. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar first published this novel. Anyway, we might as well use other methods now, since there is no way to give us a clear answer over there. But hasn't it been made clear that these things will be related? Who knows, it may really play a role in the future. Especially now that Bai Luo knows that these things are not so easy to solve. Now they wish someone would come to save them, so they don't need to continue to hesitate in this place. Among them, Bai Luo should be the most stable one. It is said that except for the Saint Girl and the Great Elder, Bai Luo can become the leader of the entire team, because in this way, he has his own ability to do what he wants. The others didn't dare to say anything, but they felt sad for Bai Luo, who had been so high-spirited at the beginning, to become like this. After all, who didn't expect so many things to happen? So now our Yang Chen could only continue to sit there. They didn't want Bai Luo to think too much. They wanted to go down directly, not like before. Bai Luo was much calmer now, so he was thinking about the way out of these things. Where exactly was it? If they could find the right idea, then everything they did next would be solved. In addition, with the strength of Bai Luo and our Yang Chen, even if they encountered a really strong enemy, the two of them could fight one or two. Chapter 310 Release. Up to now, Bai Luo and his friends can only hope that the elders can really find some strong evidence to solve that method. After all, this kind of move that can copy a person's shadow and use the shadow to attack is too powerful and unbearable. If Bai Luo and his friends can't find a solution as soon as possible, then they will definitely encounter corresponding crises next. At that time, it may not be so smooth, because the difficulty can obviously feel that these abilities and those shadows are evolving rapidly. They seem to have determined that they can freely make what they like in this place, so they don't mean to be afraid at all. Those elders are still working hard now. I'm afraid that what we can do now is to endure in this place and not have too many demands. Otherwise, I don't know if it will achieve all the effects, so I hope everyone will calm down a little now. The Saint Girl is now persuading Bai Luo there. He can feel that Bai Luo's mood is not right at this time. It's probably because the capture of the little rabbit is really a big blow to him, so Bai Luo will be a little impulsive at this time. Otherwise, Bai Luo would not be like this. After hearing what the saint said, Bai Luo understood what he meant, but he still felt a little sorry for Zhao too. Because he believed those shadows too easily, all this happened. For Bai Luo, this was something that could not be avoided, so every time Bai Luo thought of this, he didn't know how to say it. The Saint Queen could only let Bai Luo and Ao Yangchen wait on the side, while she and the Great Elder continued to contact those elders. Especially those elders now attach great importance to these things, so the saint hoped that Bai Luo could get some comfort. Otherwise, it is unknown what will happen next. But what the saint is most worried about now is that those so-called shadows will definitely go to other places to make trouble. Then those people can't tell who they are, and they will definitely be confused by their appearance. Now they must use a method to notify people in other areas in large quantities. At the same time, stop the shadows from attacking. If there is such a method, the speed of change can be temporarily slowed down. The reason why the saint said this is because she actually has a way to prevent those shadows from continuing to do evil. Although they have no way to determine their location, the saint can use a method to largely avoid the harm caused by those people. The saint can control them all in her own enchantment, but this is definitely a very difficult thing, so the saint is still thinking about whether to do this, because once you do this, it is easy to be affected. Then at that time, it is very likely that it will not be so easy to solve all this, so the saint must now consider it carefully. The saint saw Bai Luo's lonely back as he left, and she could understand what Bai Luo was thinking in his heart, so the saint felt particularly distressed about Bai Luo's attitude towards these things. The saint understood that, if Bai Luo was always affected by these things, he would become very unhappy. So for these things now, she seemed to be able to understand why they changed so quickly. If anything else happens, then they will not be able to solve it easily. Now all they can do is just continue to watch from this place. As long as there is a chance to get all of this, then these problems will not have any big results. So at this time, the saint looked at the Great Elder who was still working hard. She wanted to tell the Great Elder about her ideas, but the saint was not sure whether the Great Elder would agree. After all, if he did this, there would still be certain risks. Moreover, as the saint of the Holy Land, the saint knew her responsibilities. If some root causes were left because of this incident, thus affecting the subsequent things, then the elders of the Holy Land would definitely not agree. Especially the Great Elder beside him, he valued the saint's ability more, so the saint was a little hesitant now. However, they did not communicate anything. The saint released her own power and continued to maintain the balance of this place. Bai Luo and Ao Yangchen came to the side. Ao Yangchen felt that Bai Luo, who was in such a low mood, really affected the next things. He wanted to persuade Bai Luo well, otherwise, the next things would definitely be affected. No one wants to see such a thing happen, so Ao Yangchen can only hope that Bai Luo can wake up and not let his complicated mood affect other things. At this time, Ao Yangchen sat next to Bai Luo and did not speak for a long time, but gave Bai Luo time to calm down. Bai Luo now understands that his current state is not suitable, but he does not understand where the little rabbit has gone. Now he does not know what to do, especially since the little rabbit is a very good friend of Bai Luo. Because of his negligence, he was captured by those shadows. It is hard to say what kind of treatment he will suffer. Bai Luo now wants to find a way to eliminate those shadows as soon as possible. In this way, the depression in his heart can be dissipated a little. He understands that Ao Yangchen did not talk to him just to make him think about it in this place. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR is the first to publish this novel. So Bai Luo knew that he would not waste too much time in this place. He must find a way to make them disappear from this place completely. Only in this way can he really settle all this. Otherwise, he didn't know how these things would affect him. This is really not an easy thing, especially until now. The Saint Girl and the others have been working hard in this place. Bai Luo felt that he should not be depressed in this place. He must be strong. Only in this way can he live up to their expectations. So now Bai Luo can really understand what those people mean. Since he is one of the leaders of these people, he certainly can't be the one who drags his feet. Now Bai Luo knows what he should do. Next, he will return to his original trustworthy appearance, and then no one will say anything. After sitting there for a while, Bai Luo turned his head and smiled at Yang Chen. When Yang Chen saw that Bai Luo had become almost the same as before, he said with relief, "If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels." Chapter 311 Recovery. I know that if you leave these things to yourself, you can still calm down. Then let's go back to help the saint and continue to search for those things. After all, it's not easy for the saint. If she wants to solve these problems, she must make great efforts. If we, as their friends, can't provide them with some help, it's really not right. So I'm still very happy to see you like this. When Yang Chen said this, Bai Luo hugged him tacitly. Although the two didn't say anything, they resolved Bai Luo's sadness just now. Bai Luo cheered up. If they want to find the little rabbit, they must quickly determine the location of those shadows. They can't be sad in this place, otherwise, all this will not get any good results. So after thinking about this, Bai Luo became like this at this time. Let's go. I really did something wrong. I shouldn't show it in front of them. Besides, the Great Elder has been following us. They have done a lot. If I still tie them down here, then I really did something wrong. After Bai Luo said this, the two people left this place and returned to the saint. The people in the Holy Land still hadn't found any useful information, which made the saint know that they couldn't wait any longer. Otherwise, if they kept waiting in this place, they really couldn't control what was happening. Now they had to stop those shadows from continuing to harm others, so the saint knew that it was time for her to make a decision. If she was still hesitant in this place, then these things would become the most regrettable thing in her life. So now the saint thought about it and patted the elder beside her. The elder felt the saint's touch and looked back at the saint. "Saint, what's wrong with you? Is there anything?" At this time, the elder saw the hesitation in the saint's eyes and then thought about what was happening now. The elder seemed to have guessed the general content, and he was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the saint decided to use this method. The elder was about to say something, and at this time Bai Luo and Yang Chen came from a distance. Bai Luo saw the two looking at each other in that place, but no one spoke, and always felt that something was happening. So Bai Luo didn't get too close, but just observed from there, wondering what the two of them were going to say. Although the saint felt that someone was coming from behind, she knew that she had to speak out now. If she hesitated any longer, she might not be able to speak, so the saint said to the Great Elder, "Great Elder, I have something to tell you. I want to use that secret method to set up a barrier in this place, so as to affect those shadows, and stop them from doing evil. But you know what the price is, so I have to ask you, before I dare to continue. Otherwise, if any problem arises, I will not be able to take the responsibility. But I must do this. You see the current situation. Since we can't find a useful method, then stopping them to the greatest extent is what we should do most. Don't worry, I will do my best to protect me. I will never let me suffer too much harm because of this, and I will not bring any negative impact to the Holy Land." After the saint said this, she bowed to the Great Elder. It was the first time that the Great Elder felt the saint's humble emotion. Now he was accustomed to obeying her words. No matter what the saint said, he would listen, but the Great Elder hesitated at this point, because he understood that the method the saint said would be very dangerous. Unless the two of them were really able to settle it all, otherwise, it would be something they didn't want to recall. So at this time, the Great Elder was thinking in that place, while Bai Luo and Yang Chen were watching from the side, without going forward. They knew that this was their internal matter, and even if they knew it, they couldn't make any suggestions. It's better to wait for their decision and leave it to them, which is respect for them. It seems that the two of them still have a certain understanding of these things, at least much better than some people. There are always some people who think that they know better than these people what is really important, and they will say some helpless words. Now Bai Luo and the others are very obedient, and they didn't say anything. Instead, They waited quietly in that place until the saint and the great elder finished talking, and then they would go over. In this way, they were given full respect. Especially now that these things have developed to the present, they have understood where the most important thing is. If they are still affected by these things, then there will really be some problems. They are now able to stay in this place so calmly, because they have understood the most important point of these things. Although the process may be a little complicated, it is definitely not something they can easily solve. Especially after they have seen these things clearly so far, it will be even more terrifying. Bai Luo's understanding of these things now is no longer something that can be solved in a few words. What he knows now is developing little by little. As long as someone can help him correct all this, then this is not a really difficult thing for him. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar released this novel for the first time. Bai Luo is now waiting there. The elder finally figured it out. In his thinking just now, he has understood the real meaning of what the saint said. Of course they wanted to stop those shadows from causing trouble, so the method mentioned by the saint was the most advantageous for them now, so he had to nod his head, looked at the saint in front of him, and said to her, "If you think so, then I will naturally support all your decisions, but I will always be by your side, and will never let those people hurt you." Since the saint had finally decided on these things, the great elder had to agree. The great elder's promise made the saint very happy, so she went forward to hug the great elder and said to him that she would never let him down. The saint queen turned around and looked at Ouyang Chen and Bai Luo, who looked confused, and told them what they had just discussed. Bai Luo and Ouyang Chen, the reason why the two of us said this is that I have a way to cast a large-scale barrier to prevent those shadows from hurting other people. Chapter 312 Large Scale. But the price is that I can't move, so I must stay where I am. In this case, we have to act separately. Several people must stay here to protect me. Otherwise, once I'm attacked, the entire barrier will be affected. At that time, everything we have done will be destroyed, and this barrier will greatly suppress the power of those shadows and reduce their power. Then it will be the most useful for us. I just talked to the elder for a long time, just to let him let me do this. Otherwise, I dare not do it easily. After all, this method will cause great harm to myself. Now that the elder has agreed to me, let's start. Bai Luo, you decide who will stay, and who will continue to look for those people. After saying this, Bai Luo and Ouyang Chen admired the saint very much. They could feel that the elder's hesitation just now proved that this matter was definitely not that simple. But the saint agreed so readily, and it was he who took the initiative to propose it, which means that in the saint's heart, everything is not as important as their defeat of these people. Now Bai Luo and Ouyang Chen looked at each other and nodded firmly. Since they had already expressed their opinions, how could they, as important members of the team, retreat? So at this time, Bai Luo came to the saint, looked into her eyes, and said to her very seriously, "You have made such a great sacrifice, so I understand. Let Ouyang Chen and the great elder stay to protect you. I will go find those people. With my strength, I should be able to deal with them. So you all stay here, and leave the remaining shadows to me. You must protect yourself in this place. With Ouyang Chen and the great elder, I think the two of them should be enough to keep you out of danger." Bai Luo chose this way to protect the saint to the greatest extent. After all, Bai Luo has a system on him, so it is absolutely easy for him to live in this place, and if he is alone, it is easier for him to perform some things that cannot be seen by the saint. In this way, there are still certain advantages for Bai Luo, so he is used to doing these things. In this way, Bai Luo can stay here peacefully until the end, until these things are completely solved. Although these things are not so easy, the saint has taken all the dangers on herself. Then Bai Luo is naturally willing to go by himself, but the saint is still a little worried about whether Bai Luo can solve these things alone. "Why don't you let Ouyang Chen accompany you? With the great elder here, the two of us should be enough. After all, those people have no way to determine my location. I will hide my location as much as possible." However, Bai Luo still heard a loophole in the saint's words. The saint said this just to reassure himself and find those shadows. However, once there is a certain danger, the saint and the great elder will be the most vulnerable. Bai Luo certainly didn't want those things to happen, so he shook his head, pressed the saint's shoulder, and repeated what he had just said to him, but in the end there was no way to change it. Then the saint could only follow Bai Luo's advice and let Yang Chen and the Great Elder stay here to accompany her. Bai Luo explained some things to them at this time, that is, he would go to find those shadows by himself. However, Bai Luo could feel that after the saint's skills were used, those shadows would be affected, and they would definitely not run too far. Bai Luo would go to find those people by himself at that time, so that he could successfully lock the location of those people. Now the saint understood that Bai Luo could use this method to quickly find those people and solve them, and with the effect of the barrier, the power of those shadows would be discounted to a certain extent, so Bai Luo should be a little easier next time. At this time, the saint nodded, and Bai Luo stood aside. The saint sat in the middle position, and he was going to cast the barrier now, and began to manipulate all the shadows that he could control within the entire range, so that their power and speed would be slowed down, so that it would be convenient for Bai Luo to find those things. So the saint sat on the ground, closed her eyes, put her hands together, and silently recited one spell after another. After a while, various lights appeared around the saint, forming different patterns on the ground. When all the patterns were drawn together and all the lines were connected together, a very surprising phenomenon occurred. Some lights were directed to a point, radiating out in all directions, quickly occupying the area where they were, and extending to further areas, just like a meteor, flying to a more distant area. In those areas, there must be shadows. In this way, all shadows can be manipulated within this large-scale enchantment. Then, as long as it is not affected, the next enchantment will always exist. So now Bai Luo understands that he cannot waste the opportunity that the saint created for him with great difficulty, so he immediately said goodbye to the saint, the great elder, Yang Chen and others, and then quickly left this place. While the saint's power is taking effect, Bai Luo must quickly find those shadows and kill them. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 + BOOK_BAR is the first to publish this novel. The shadows now can feel that suddenly a strong force seems to be attached to them. They have no way to eliminate this force. Even the very powerful things they made by themselves are helpless in front of these things. What they have developed now is really a little less, otherwise it would not be like this. And these shadows understand that it seems that Bai Luo and the others have made a certain impact on them, so they immediately want to find a place to hide, so that they can reduce their damage. However, no matter how they hide, the saint's barrier will follow them like a shadow, covering all the people in the barrier on a large scale. They have no way to leave this place, and can only watch it all. So they must know with their own eyes what these things are. Although they are not so good, they are not something that ordinary people can get after all. Chapter 313, Fighting Alone. At this time, the saint was silently performing magic in that place. After Bai Luo left them, he began to look for places with breath, because Bai Luo could determine the location of those shadows through breath. Next, he only needed to find the breath that Bai Luo was familiar with, and he could determine where they were at the first time. So Bai Luo was a little nervous. He didn't know if he could find those people at the first time. If he could really do these things, then Bai Luo would be too easy. Those shadows were not fools. They naturally knew that they had been restricted, so they would escape from the restricted place at the first time. Although it was useless, no matter how many places they escaped to, they couldn't dismantle all these things. Otherwise, it would be more dangerous here, so now not many of them were willing to find the original places. In that case, it would be safer. They always felt that there was something scary there, otherwise, such things would not appear. And now those shadows, of course, brought little rabbits. Now that Xiao was tied up and followed them, he could feel that these shadows were all quite violent, especially his own stand-in. Every time he saw him, his eyes were full of murderous intent, which made Xiao particularly puzzled. Why did they want to kill him so much? Could it be that they wanted to kill him and become him? This was really a ridiculous thing. Xiao was certainly not their opponent in terms of strength now. After all, these people were very strong. If they attacked together, how could Xiao beat them easily? So now they had no way to continue. They could only stay there quietly without making too much noise. Xiao chose this method to protect himself from being hurt by them. Otherwise, Xiao would have fought with them a long time ago. But Xiao knew that, even if he fought with them in this place, the final result would still end in failure. It would be better to stay here and watch what they were going to do. Xiao also wanted to leave some clues for Bai Luo to find. But Xiao didn't expect that those people would be very strict. They would take away those shadows and throw them away in front of him. In this way, Xiao had no way to tell Bai Luo that he knew his current location. Bai Luo would be very anxious after learning that he disappeared. After all, they had known each other for so long and had not been separated for many times. The current moves of these shadows were really incomprehensible. The shadows were affected by this barrier and naturally felt very upset. At this time, they couldn't help but cast their eyes on Xiao who was standing aside. If it weren't for Bai Luo, they wouldn't have to feel so uncomfortable now, so some people wanted to teach Xiao a lesson. Xiao didn't understand their brain circuits, but he still pretended to be timid in that place, not letting them pay too much attention to him. Otherwise, Bai Luo and the others would not find him easily. Xiao was right to do this now, but these people would not do it. Shadow Xiao was not easy. He originally wanted to kill Xiao and replace him, but he didn't expect that what happened later would happen. After the pain of the shadows disappeared a little, they all went aside. At this time, a man rushed out from the crowd. That man was none other than Shadow Bunny. He came in front of Bunny, picked up the weapon in his hand, put it on Bunny's neck, and said to Bunny angrily, "It's all because of you. It's all because of Bai Luo. Otherwise we wouldn't be like this. I will kill you today, so that I can really become you. By then, Bai Luo will definitely not be able to tell the difference. I will kill him again, and then I can avenge the hatred in my heart." After saying this, he raised the weapon in his hand high and cut the bunny's arm, but he suddenly found something wrong. His arm seemed to be in the same position as Bunny, and he couldn't help but look down. Sure enough, he found that there was an identical thing on his body in Bunny's place. It seems that someone must have planted these things underneath, so he suddenly did this. Otherwise, how can we explain these things? Now Shadow seemed to be able to sense that if the main body was hurt, he would also be hurt. This was something very wrong for Shadow Rabbit, so he picked up his weapon again and wanted to attack Rabbit again. That strong feeling came again, preventing him from making all the movements in his hands. If he continued to persist, then all these things would not be solved, but would become something very easy. After all, Shadow Rabbit now knew the horror of these things. It seemed that he could not do it again, but since it had been designed like this, he had no way to change it, so he could only accept it here. Although it would not be so easy, it was his own choice after all, so Shadow Rabbit couldn't do anything to Rabbit at this time. After all, if Rabbit was hurt, Shadow Rabbit would be affected. Shadow Rabbit certainly didn't want to be hurt, so all he could do now was to protect Rabbit well in this place, so as to become a bargaining chip to threaten Bai Luo. Apart from that, he really didn't dare to do anything. He would give back his evil power at that time. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus BOOK_BAR published this novel for the first time. Now he didn't dare to do too much, just dared to stay quietly aside. Bai Luo came out to look for these shadows. He didn't have any defense. He knew where these shadows were, so he had to find a completely correct place so that he could solve these things. Once he went off the track, it would be easy to be affected by these things. After thinking of this, Bai Luo was very cautious at this time. He had to detect the strong breath fluctuations, otherwise, he couldn't be sure of the location of those shadows. And those shadows were hidden very deeply in order not to be exposed. Now Bai Luo has come out and walked for about half a day, but he didn't see anything. It seems that he has been fooled. Turning around in this place, this feeling is not too good for Bai Luo, but it makes him a little angry, as if his strength has no place to use here. It makes people feel particularly suffocated. Chapter 314 Imbalance. It seems that these shadows should have certain moves, so now that Bai Luo has felt these contents, he wants to catch these shadows even more, so as to truly rescue the little rabbit. Bai Luo believes that the little rabbit should not be affected too much in their hands. Although Bai Luo now knows a lot about these shadows, he still does not know specifically what these shadows are doing, and he does not know what their moves and personalities are like. Bai Luo now has only one idea, that is, to find them as soon as possible and rescue the little rabbit. In this way, he can slowly carry out the subsequent plan, otherwise he has not even completed the beginning. How can he continue? So now Bai Luo has become the most persistent person in this place, looking for those shadows. Of course, he can't waste this time easily. From time to time, they will talk and look at some things together. This is not something that ordinary people can carry. Now all of Bai Luo's attention has been left on the slightest movement related to those shadows. Now Bai Luo plans to find them. The elder and ascension who stayed there did not leave. They looked at each other and did not know what to say. They did not expect Bai Luo to make such a decision. They thought that he would definitely take one away, but Bai Luo did not take anyone away and let them watch the saint patiently. It seems that Bai Luo is really confident that he can defeat those people, so he did it. Otherwise he would have brought a helper with him. Then the two of us will take good care of the saint here. As long as the saint has any needs, we will solve them as soon as possible. It is because they have learned about these things that they can stay here so calmly. Although this process may not be so simple, it is not something that ordinary people can withstand. As long as they can stay here calmly until the end, then the result will definitely be smoother than he thought. Now Bai Luo can continue to persist in this place with this idea. Yang Chen and the Great Elder were both there, looking at the surrounding environment. When the saint released her power, her consciousness was in a coma, so she had no idea what was happening in the outside world. That's why he had to be watched by someone, because the saint was in the most vulnerable stage at this time. If no one was watching her, she would be easily targeted. So now the saint has the protection of Yang Chen and the Great Elder, so she doesn't have to worry about being attacked by too many people. She just needs to wait in this place, and there won't be any big problems. So now the saint can rest assured and close her eyes to practice in this place. The saint is now immersed in her own world, and the Great Elder is a little worried about the saint's body. This method will cause a certain backlash to herself, so if the saint is affected too much by this incident, then for the Great Elder, it is a matter that cannot be reversed. The Great Elder must be by the saint's side to deliver some power to him, so that he can help the saint minimize the loss, and then he doesn't have to worry about certain sequelae. So now they can look at the saint well in this place. Bai Luo continued to walk in those directions. He could feel the general breath, but he was not completely sure, so Bai Luo could only move forward with his intuition. Unless those shadows can give a certain disturbance, in that case, their breath will become very strong. Then Bai Luo can lock their position in the first time, but those shadows are so vigilant now, how can they make a big move? They hope that Bai Luo will never find them in this life, so that they don't have to worry about their things being told by others, so they have such an idea, and they will not let those things have any crisis. Now that they have a general understanding of these things, the shadows get along very harmoniously with each other. Now the little rabbit is still with them. The anger of the shadow little rabbit has subsided a little, but he has always been holding back a lot of anger in his heart. After all, these shadows have never been satisfied with him looking directly at them. The shadows can now feel the difference between them and the original body, so they will definitely not tolerate these things easily. Among them, the one who could not stand these things the most was Shadow Bunny. After all, his personality was very similar to that of Bunny, so he was easily treated unfairly, and the whole person would be very annoyed, and always felt that this was very unbalanced. So now he was just enduring, and once he exploded, it would definitely have a big impact. For Bai Luo, it was the best time, but Bai Luo didn't know the situation here, and continued to look for shadows in that place, and added to the scope of his search. But no matter what, it seemed that those shadows were far away from his location. Bai Luo couldn't help but feel a little discouraged, but he would understand that no matter how painful it was for him now, he couldn't give up the place where the Great Elder and Yang Chen were. Looking at the saint, if he gave up in this place, wouldn't it be a waste of their efforts? So now he must tell himself that he must stick to these things. Only by really settling all this can they defeat all this. Now Bai Luo has been using such words to motivate himself so that he can walk slowly in this place. Otherwise, there will definitely be some problems because of these things. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR first published this novel. Now Bai Luo has become particularly calm because of this idea, for fear that he will change the direction of these things by accident. Then Bai Luo will definitely regret it very much. They are able to stay in this place calmly because they are familiar with such actions. As long as their final result is good, Bai Luo is willing to persist in this place. So now Bai Luo's thinking is very thorough. Where are they hiding? It feels like they are nearby, but the way they hide is still quite powerful, and I can't even detect it. I really don't know what kind of power they are brewing. This is really a worrying thing. It seems that I must be careful. Chapter 315 Encounter. Judging from the current situation, Bai Luo must find those shadows as soon as possible, and the aftermath of these matters will be left to the Saint and our Ancient to deal with. So Bai Luo is looking for them in that place at this time. Now those shadows have stopped in one place, and they must take advantage of this time to think carefully. After all, they have not been able to completely determine these things now. They have to think carefully before they can understand what to do. This also provides Bai Luo with an opportunity. Bai Luo is naturally still looking for their shadows in this place. Once he finds the specific location of those shadows, he can rescue Zero 2. Zero 2, you must wait for me. I hope those shadows will not do anything to you. Otherwise, I will never let them go. When Bai Luo said this, it was obvious how angry he was. It can be seen that in Bai Luo's eyes, those shadows have touched his bottom line and must be eradicated as soon as possible. So now Bai Luo has only one idea, that is to find them as soon as possible and then deal with them civilly. In this way, he can really relieve Bai Luo's boredom. Otherwise, this is something that is very difficult for Bai Luo to understand. Especially until now, these things have been placed in front of them, which makes them more complicated, and not something that ordinary people can figure out. Now that Bai Luo has confirmed these things, he just needs to search carefully. At this time, the shadows gathered together, and Shadow Bunny was still wandering among them, because he really wanted to kill the bunny in front of him. Bunny could feel the murderous intention of the Shadow Bunny at this time, and didn't understand why he had to kill himself. Later, he thought about it, and thought that Bunny could probably understand his idea. He probably wanted to replace himself, and become the real Bunny. However, Bunny found that they dared not to do it for a long time, and didn't know why. At this time, Bunny was also looking for a way to leave this place. He couldn't be threatened by these people, otherwise, it would definitely have a certain impact on Bai Luo and the others. Every time he thought of this, it was a very difficult thing for Bunny at this time. Because he deeply knew the complexity of these things. If he wanted to change anything, he must be prepared in advance, otherwise, there was no way to solve these things as smoothly as he originally thought. This is a very complicated matter for Zero 2. As long as he can put some effort into it, it will be a good thing for him. Bai Luo has been fully prepared for these things from the beginning to now. Anyway, so many people have already gone out. Then Bai Luo has to find the whereabouts of those shadows in this area. Bai Luo used his own power to explore the surroundings, and found that, although there was a breath, it was very small and basically could not be felt, which made Bai Luo very annoyed. Damn, what method did they use to cover up their own breath so well, that it is simply impossible to tell where they are? This is really annoying. When Bai Luo said this, it was obvious that Bai Luo was now confused by these people, and didn't know what to say. He wanted to go to them quickly, and interrogate them severely, to see what else they were going to do. In this way, he could really cause some harm to them. Otherwise, Bai Luo didn't know how to say it. Once these things happened, it was indeed a very complicated matter for them. Now Bai Luo is able to embark on the journey of finding the shadows precisely because he has understood these little things in advance. Now Bai Luo can only follow his subconscious and move forward little by little, as long as he can reach the correct location. Then for Bai Luo, everything he is experiencing now is tolerable. After all, he only has one idea, which is to find those shadows. So now Bai Luo must do this. Bai Luo continues to move forward without any intention of stopping. Now in Bai Luo's view, these things are very important. If he makes a mistake by mistake, then the little rabbit may not be found. I don't believe it. I still can't find the location of those shadows. This is really a bizarre thing. I must work hard. After thinking about this, Bai Luo didn't care about his current thoughts at this time. He had to speed up and rush to those places with fluctuations. Bai Luo couldn't help but expend a lot of energy to search in this place. Once there is a stronger breath, Bai Luo can determine their location in the first time. Those shadows didn't dare to make big movements now, for fear that Bai Luo would find out their location. So those shadows were very smart, but Shadow Bunny was definitely the most restless one among them, and he stood beside Bunny all the time. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar published this novel for the first time. Shadow Bunny really wanted to kill Bunny directly, but he knew that, if he killed Bunny, he would not be able to survive either. After all, there was a very close relationship between the shadow and the main body. Once the main body was hurt, the shadow would be hurt accordingly. On the contrary, no matter how much damage the shadow suffered, the main body would not be affected. This made Shadow Bunny feel very unbalanced, and he felt like he was being used. Why did he also suffer after the main body was hurt, but when he was hurt, the main body was not affected at all? This was obviously the difference between the two, so this was something that Shadow Bunny could not bear, but he had no way to change it. He could only stare at the bunny in front of him with anger. Zero too understood that Shadow Rabbit must have some concerns, which is why he became like this. So this is a good opportunity for Bai Luo, but it's a pity that Bai Luo has not arrived here yet, and he doesn't know the secret hidden between them. Why can't I hurt you? I don't believe it. Now Shadow Rabbit was so angry that he hit Zero too, and then he felt a very painful attack. It seems that it is really as they said. Once the main body is affected in any way, the shadow will be hurt. So Shadow Rabbit felt the pain in his body and had to retreat in disappointment. He didn't want to talk about these things anymore. Chapter 316 Fluctuation. Now the restlessness of the Shadow Bunny naturally brought about a certain fluctuation of breath. Bai Luo suddenly noticed that there was a very intense breath nearby. He could feel that it should belong to those shadows. Bai Luo was very happy at this time. It seemed that he finally found their location. Can't bear it anymore. I knew that you would definitely show your feet. Now I just need to look for you in this order, and I will definitely catch you all in one fell swoop. At this time, Bai Luo noticed the fluctuation of breath, immediately locked the location, and quickly rushed to that place. If he didn't get there now, it would definitely delay some things. Bai Luo finally got the clue now. How could he give up easily? So now Bai Luo can be said to have gathered all his strength and quickly headed towards that place, wishing to kill there now, so as to eliminate the shadow and rescue the bunny. Bunny, wait for me. I already know where you are. I will definitely come quickly. Bai Luo's speed is much faster than those people, so as long as Bai Luo wants to do it, it will basically be easy. When those people noticed that Bai Luo had arrived at this place, they had to consider whether they should leave this place quickly. Otherwise, once Bai Luo appeared in this place, he would definitely not let them go. Especially now that Bai Luo was full of anger, he wanted to get rid of them quickly, so how could he let them go easily? In this way, it can be seen what kind of status they hold in Bai Luo's heart. Bai Luo wanted to get rid of them quickly, so he didn't want to have anything to do with them anymore. This led to the fact that, if they couldn't quickly solve these things, the impact that would eventually come would definitely not be felt by ordinary people. At this time, the fluctuations of Shadow Bunny also aroused the dissatisfaction of other shadows. They stepped forward and accused Shadow Bunny. What are you doing? Didn't I tell you? Don't have any fluctuations, otherwise once they notice it, they will immediately lock our position. In this case, how can we escape? Shadow Aoyang Chen didn't know how to say it now, but he could feel that Shadow Bunny was no longer controllable, which showed how unstable he was now. No matter how unbalanced you feel, this has already been decided. You are just making such a fuss now, just waiting for them to come after you. After hearing this, Shadow Bunny understood that he seemed to be a little impulsive just now, but seeing these people blaming him here, he was also a little annoyed, so he said something casually. So what? Since I provoked him here, I'm responsible. You don't have to blame me here. You said these words as if I'm an unforgivable person. All the things I did are in accordance with my rules. If you don't want to meet them here, you can hide first, and I will deal with Bai Luo. You don't have to keep finding fault with me here. After saying this, it is obvious that the relationship between them seems to have been affected to a certain extent. It seems that Shadow Bunny is still a little unhappy about what happened just now, so after hearing so many people saying that he was wrong, he naturally got a little bad temper and started to contradict them here. Unfortunately, these shadows have no way to understand the problem. After all, they were just tools that were copied. They didn't have much consciousness at all, and they didn't realize what bad results would come from doing this. So now they understand that it's impossible to talk to Shadow Bunny. He would think that what they said was directed at him, so those shadows left here, leaving only Shadow Bunny and Bunny. Now they have all retreated from this place. Bunny didn't expect that they all left, leaving only the shadow with him. This surprised Bunny. Could it be that they realized that someone was chasing them? Did Bai Luo come to rescue me? After thinking about this, Bunny was very excited at this time. If Bai Luo came here soon, then he would definitely be able to leave this place with Bai Luo, and he wouldn't have to worry about anything next. But now Bunny couldn't be sure whether this matter was really as he thought. If he was just wishful thinking, it would be a bit funny. So now the little rabbit must be sure he wants to check this place, but at this time, the shadow little rabbit caught up with the people in front and said to them, "You left him here, waiting for those people to come over and see the difference between us at a glance. You take him away first and hide nearby. Once I can't fight them, remember to come out and help me as soon as possible, otherwise I will expose your whereabouts completely." After hearing this, the shadows were quite helpless. They are now grasshoppers on a rope. It is impossible for any one of them to get into trouble, otherwise their entire team will have problems. So at this time, the shadows understood. They looked at each other and had to find a more hidden place in this place and hide first. Otherwise, if they were discovered by Bai Luo later, they didn't know how to deal with it. The error-free version is read at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus BOOK_BAR first published this novel. Although these people are very strong, they remember very clearly how they felt when they were crushed by Bai Luo last time. They don't want to experience that feeling again, so now they have to use a clever method to really defeat Bai Luo. They can't all appear here, otherwise they will just be sending heads to Bai Luo. After all, Bai Luo's strength can completely crush them, so they can't do such impulsive behavior again. The method mentioned by Shadow Bunny can still be tried. They understand that Shadow Bunny must have his own ideas, otherwise he would not be so calm, and he should have been running around like them. So those shadows are particularly clear about this at this time, and don't want to say anything. They can only wait quietly here, to see what kind of means this Shadow Bunny has. Can we really trust him? If there are any problems later, won't it be difficult for us to leave this place? So what? He has already said that he will help us solve these things, so what we have to do is to wait here. If we doubt him and can't come up with any good methods, it will be impossible to escape from this place easily. Chapter 317 is coming. We have just had a series of changes here, and they must have known about it. I believe that person will arrive here soon. As they thought, Bai Luo arrived quickly and came to the place where the shadows were. Bai Luo now felt the surrounding atmosphere, and it was the same as what he had just noticed. It seemed that there was no problem with his position, but where did the little rabbit go, and where were the shadows? Why were they not in this place? This made Bai Luo a little confused, and the shadow little rabbit hiding on the other side noticed Bai Luo's approach. He now knew what to do. In order to completely get rid of the shackles of the original body, he decided to use Bai Luo to kill the real little rabbit. The shadow little rabbit had to pretend to be the real little rabbit, and then identify the real little rabbit as the shadow little rabbit. Anyway, from the appearance, there was no difference between them, so as long as he pretended to be a little like them, Bai Luo would definitely believe it. So at this time, Shadow Rabbit understood that he had to pretend to be a real rabbit so that Bai Luo would not be suspicious. So when Bai Luo arrived here, Shadow Rabbit immediately slapped his chest and then fell there, pretending that his body was injured. At this time, Shadow Rabbit groaned just to attract Bai Luo. Shadow Rabbit's pretending to be injured was perfect. He lay down in this place just to attract Bai Luo. In this way, as long as Bai Luo came and saw his injured appearance, he would definitely believe that he was the real rabbit. It seems that his plan is really complicated. Bai Luo was looking for the whereabouts of the rabbit in that place, but no matter how he looked, he could not find it. This was a big blow to Bai Luo. He didn't know what to do, so he could only search slowly in this place. Since they are nearby, I just need to keep going, and I will definitely be able to find out where they are. So now Bai Luo carefully checked this place. When he walked around the bushes, he suddenly heard a groaning sound. Bai Luo realized that someone must be injured. So Bai Luo parted the bushes and saw the unconscious bunny lying inside. He was startled at first. Bai Luo was also wondering whether this was a real bunny or a fake one. So now Bai Luo looked at the bunny in front of him. At this time, the shadow bunny continued to be unconscious in that place after seeing Bai Luo coming. He had to pretend to be weak first, otherwise, there would definitely be some problems. But now Bai Luo was already prepared, because he knew there were two bunnies here, and it was not so easy to tell the difference between the two bunnies, so Bai Luo did not make any move. The shadow bunny waited for a long time, but Bai Luo did not come forward to check his injuries, so he had to open his eyes and pretend to have just seen Bai Luo. At this time, Shadow Rabbit said to Bai Luo excitedly, "Bai Luo, you are here. I have been waiting for you. I really didn't expect you to find this place." Bai Luo heard what he said and was confirming his identity, so at this time, Bai Luo stared at the rabbit in that place without saying anything. At this time, Shadow Rabbit understood that Bai Luo was considering whether he was real or fake, so he pretended to be a real rabbit and said something. "Bai Luo, you don't doubt that I'm Shadow, I'm the real rabbit. I finally got rid of them and was injured by their attacks before I escaped from that place. Since you are here, let's evacuate from this place quickly. I don't know what tricks they will use later." After hearing this, Bai Luo said to him, "Are you really a rabbit? Do you have any evidence to prove your identity?" After saying this, it is obvious that Bai Luo is now in a certain place. At this time, the Shadow Rabbit had to stay there and think about how to deal with it. Anyway, Bai Luo didn't know much about these things, so the Shadow Rabbit said some nonsense there to make Bai Luo think that he was the real rabbit. "I don't know how to explain it to you. You can ask about the things we know about each other. Once I know, can't I prove my identity?" But this trick didn't work for Bai Luo, because Bai Luo had experienced it once when Zhu and the other shadows appeared last time. Those shadows knew everything that happened to them, which proved that these shadows should have completely copied the memories of the original body, so this kind of trial method had no effect at all. So at this time, Bai Luo shook his head. This can't be tested. The last time Zhu and the other shadows came, I was deceived like this once, so it can't prove anything at all. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR released this novel for the first time. Bai Luo now asked the rabbit to get up from that place first, and he had to make a careful judgment again. So at this time, Shadow Bunny had to stand up from that place and came outside. The two people stood opposite each other, and Bai Luo continued to observe some details. Bai Luo noticed that there was indeed an attack on Shadow Bunny's chest, but it always felt that it was not so smooth. So for Bai Luo, this was something that needed to be carefully observed. If he deliberately injured himself and pretended to be a real hobby in order to attract Bai Luo's trust, then once Bai Luo believed it, wouldn't it be completely wasted? Although Bai Luo had no way to determine whether the person in front of him was the real bunny, Bai Luo's vigilance did not dissipate at all. He had to be careful to deal with the person in front of him. If he made a mistake, the real bunny would not care about these. So Bai Luo was very patient, just to confirm the true identity of this bunny, so now he stood there quietly, just to see what he could say next. At this time, Shadow Bunny could feel that Bai Luo was observing him here. If he could not give him a convincing answer, he would definitely be affected by other things next. So after thinking of this, the Shadow Rabbit continued to speak in that place, and Bai Luo listened to what he thought was correct, and felt that he believed it. However, Bai Luo suddenly noticed something wrong at this time. That is, the rabbit standing in front of him seemed a little embarrassed, and there was something different about him. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318 Disguise. At this time, Bai Luo remembered what those people said about the characteristics of those shadows, and he immediately confirmed that this person was definitely not the real bunny, but Bai Luo did not say it out loud, just to see what tricks he would have next. So at this time, Bai Luo stared at the bunny in front of him. Bai Luo found that there was still a certain difference between the real person and the shadow. This difference could definitely be seen when they stood together, but when they appeared alone in this place, Bai Luo could also confirm it. Different light spots would appear on their bodies. This was not the main body, but a phenomenon that these shadows could not touch after they appeared nearby. In this way, Bai Luo could rely on this rule to truly distinguish the shadows. However, Bai Luo understood that such a rule might have some drawbacks, so if Bai Luo encountered the corresponding things next, he still had to observe carefully before he could really make a conclusion. Otherwise, if he easily determined it, there would definitely be some problems. So now Bai Luo saw all this more thoroughly than anyone else. He had to be careful to find the real bunny, so he said to the bunny in front of him again, "If you are really the little rabbit, then leave this place with me." After saying this, Bai Luo had already understood these things. However, Shadow Rabbit still thought that Bai Luo had believed him, so he said very happily, "Really? Then let's leave this place and go back." Now Shadow Rabbit still thought that he had successfully deceived Bai Luo, but he didn't know that Bai Luo had already seen through his thoughts. Bai Luo did this, no doubt just to follow him and see what else he could say next. At this time, Shadow Rabbit was still there, complacently following Bai Luo away. Bai Luo walked for a while, turned around, and directly put his hand on Shadow Rabbit's neck, strangling him tightly. Bai Luo took advantage of Shadow Rabbit's lack of defense and attacked him, so that he could test his reaction at the first time. The Shadow Rabbit's first reaction was to attack Bai Luo, which completely confirmed that he was a shadow, not a real little rabbit. Because Bai Luo and the little rabbit had a very good relationship, the little rabbit would not resist, even if it sensed Bai Luo's attack. The first reaction of a person is very accurate, so Bai Luo let go of his hand, turned around, and said to the shadow little rabbit, "You are hiding really well, but some things on you are still exposed. You are not the real little rabbit at all, and your first reaction just now has already told me that you are afraid of me. The little rabbit will not be afraid of me, so don't pretend." After Bai Luo said these words, he did not let go of the shadow little rabbit. The shadow little rabbit now realized that Bai Luo had not believed what he said just now, but continued to make his own judgment. This made the shadow little rabbit feel very unhappy. He was still foolishly believing that Bai Luo had confirmed that he was the real little rabbit. This made the shadow little rabbit very angry at this time, and he had to admit his identity. "Yes, that's right, I'm Shadow Bunny, so what? But even if you catch me now, you can't find the real bunny. If you don't want Bunny to die, I advise you to agree to my request and take us back to the previous underground ruins. Otherwise, you can wait for me to commit suicide, and then the real bunny will be affected." Shadow Bunny is now desperate. He can feel that Bai Luo has seen through his plan. If he doesn't use some methods to threaten Bai Luo, he will really be eliminated by Bai Luo. Anyway, Bai Luo doesn't know the relationship between him and the real body. As long as he says that he is affected, the real body will be affected. Then Bai Luo will definitely mistakenly think that if the shadow is injured, the real body will be injured. That's why Shadow Bunny said such a statement, and after Bai Luo heard him say this, he could understand from the words of Shadow Bunny that it seems that they really have something to do with the underground ruins. Then Bai Luo could connect. When they went to that place to find something, they did feel an abnormal fluctuation, but they didn't expect such a big problem to happen. But now Bai Luo regrets a little. They shouldn't have gone to that place. But now Bai Luo believes what Shadow Rabbit said. If they kill these shadows, their real bodies will also be injured. So Bai Luo doesn't dare to act rashly now, not only for the little rabbit, but also for Ao Hangzhu and Leng Yu, whose shadows have basically been stolen. If they are really allowed to do it, then once the shadows are eliminated, these people will be affected. Bai Luo doesn't dare to do it easily at this time, otherwise, his friends may be hurt to varying degrees. So now Bai Luo had no choice but to obey the words of the Shadow Bunny in front of him. He didn't know what he would ask for next, so Bai Luo looked at him and said to him, "Do you have anything else to say? If I promise you that I will send you back to the underground ruins, will you leave completely? Only then can I eliminate all the hidden dangers. Otherwise, if you appear here again and threaten others, how can we settle all this?" Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar first published this novel. Bai Luo now looked at the Shadow Bunny and didn't let him escape from this place easily, because Bai Luo always felt that once he let him go, he would follow those shadows and leave like last time. Then Bai Luo really couldn't find the bunny, so now Bai Luo was good-tempered and talked to him here, just to quickly determine the bunny's current location. As for the requests they said, Bai Luo had to consider it. The current priority was to rescue the bunny as soon as possible, so Bai Luo was willing to talk to the Shadow Bunny here. After hearing what Bai Luo said just now, Shadow Rabbit understood that he really believed what he said, so he had a handle to control Bai Luo, and he didn't have to worry anymore. As long as Bai Luo could be controlled, the following things would be much smoother. Now Bai Luo considered Ao Hangzhu and Leng Yu, but Bai Luo didn't want to take them back there. Chapter 319 Underground Ruins. Because there are many secrets hidden in that place, if these shadows go back, it is still unknown what kind of impact they will have there. But on one side is the underground ruins, and on the other side is his friend. Bai Luo can only be forced to agree. At this time, after the Shadow Rabbit got Bai Luo's consent, he was very happy. As long as they return to the underground ruins, they will have more ways to make more shadows, and then they will no longer have to be afraid of Bai Luo and his friends. So after hearing Bai Luo's answer, the Shadow Rabbit confirmed it again in that place. "You have just promised me that you will take us back there, so you must not have any regrets, otherwise, I will not let the little rabbit go." After saying this, Bai Luo can only accept the threat of the Shadow Rabbit. If he commits suicide at that time, the little rabbit will disappear here, so Bai Luo can only agree to his words now, and said to him, "I have already promised you, you can let the little rabbit see me." After hearing this, the Shadow Rabbit is extremely happy at this time. "Then you have to let me go first. How can I believe that I can listen to you if you threaten me like this?" After saying this, Bai Luo loosened his hand that was tightly holding Shadow Bunny and then waited for his next move at that place. After Shadow Bunny got free, he laughed at that place and then blew a whistle, and all the shadows hidden in the dark came out. Bai Luo looked carefully and found that it was really what he saw that day. It was really unexpected that there were so many people. Bai Luo naturally saw the shadow of Ao Hangchen in the middle, as well as the shadows of Ao Hangzhu and Leng Yu. At this time, Bai Luo was shocked and didn't know what to say. It seemed that their strength was really strong. They could actually create so many shadows. Bai Luo knew even more that if they really let them go to the underground ruins, he didn't know what kind of chaos would happen, but he had already agreed, so he could only take it one step at a time. They must solve all these shadows. In this way, all crises will be settled. So now Bai Luo saw the little rabbit in the middle and immediately stepped forward to greet the little rabbit. The two hugged each other, and Bai Luo said to Xiao Tu, "You are not injured, right? They didn't do anything too bad to you, did they? I finally see you, Xiao Tu." Bai Luo was very excited when he said these words. Zio too knew that Bai Luo must have come here when he felt the different movement. Sure enough, when those people took him out, they really saw Bai Luo. This was really a very happy thing for Bai Luo. Bai Luo's heart could finally be put down, so he turned around and looked at those shadows. After looking at them, Bai Luo turned around and said to the shadows, "Zio, let's go. Since I have promised you, I will naturally do these things." Bai Luo was very helpless at this time, but he had no way to refuse anything. He was worried about the lives of Zio and others, so no matter what, he could not joke with their lives. But Bai Luo certainly had certain requirements. "But you have to agree to one thing from me. You are not allowed to hurt people on the road again. If you hurt those innocent people again, I will defeat you, even if I have to fight with you and successfully rescue those people." When Bai Luo said these words, his tone was very firm. The shadows looked at each other. They originally thought that Shadow Bunny would not be able to succeed. Unexpectedly, he had convinced Bai Luo so quickly and asked Bai Luo to do what he said. This shocked them. However, since they had achieved their goal, they would certainly listen to what Bai Luo said. So they all nodded. "As long as you can take us back to the underground ruins, we will listen to what you say." After saying this, Bai Luo nodded. At this time, Zio too had already seen their deal and said to Bai Luo at that place, "What did you promise them? It's not some excessive demands, right? You worked so hard to save me." At this time, Bai Luo said to him, "They want to go back to the underground ruins. For the sake of safety, I can only agree to them, because I feel that if these shadows are injured, you will also be injured. If they commit suicide, you will be affected, and you may not be able to save your lives at that time. So for the time being, I can only agree to his conditions. Not only you should have seen that our Yangzu, Len Yu, and our Yang Chen's shadows are all here. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR is the first to publish this novel. Once these shadows really make a self-destructive move, the safety of you guys will be in great danger. So now I can only listen to them and have to move forward." When Bai Luo said these words, he was actually using a very covert way of communication. This way, only he and Zio could hear it, and other people had no idea what they were doing. After hearing this, Zio understood Bai Luo's helplessness. It seems that these shadows are really insidious. How could Bai Luo disagree with using such a method to threaten Bai Luo? After all, Bai Luo doesn't want his friends to be hurt. So at this time, Zio knew that it seemed that they had to be careful and guard against these shadows. Since they can have such a method, they must stop them from continuing to copy other people. Otherwise, the lives of the entire team will be threatened. How can they fight back then? So at this time, Zio nodded, without saying anything, but followed those shadows. Bai Luo wanted to take these shadows back to the original place, find the saint and the others, and then take them to the underground ruins together. In this way, they can get rid of them. Bai Luo knew that the underground ruins were in the Holy Land, so if they wanted to get there, they had to seek the consent of the saint and the elders of the Holy Land, otherwise they would be affected if they rashly entered. But Bai Luo knew what the underground ruins meant to the Holy Land, and if the elders of the Holy Land or the saint disagreed, then Bai Luo had to find a way to get them to agree to this first. Then, on the way, he would find a way to deal with the shadows and finally prevent them from reaching the underground ruins. This was in line with Bai Luo's plan. Chapter 320 Delay. Bai Luo would never let them go there for no reason. After these shadows reach that place, they will definitely continue to create some very scary things. Bai Luo couldn't imagine that by then everyone would have their own shadow, and the whole world would be in chaos. So Bai Luo would never let this happen. He must deal with these things carefully now and not let these shadows realize it. The countermeasures that Bai Luo and his friends will take later can only make them think that he really listens to them now, and Bai Luo is afraid of accidents, so he can only give in now. Now those shadows follow behind Bai Luo and can feel that Bai Luo really believes what they say. They are all very happy, and they regard Shadow Bunny's words as what he thinks is the most correct. The shadows all surrounded Shadow Bunny and said to him, "You are really amazing. We thought we had to fight with him before they agreed to take us back to the underground ruins. Unexpectedly, you only needed a few words to convince him. What did you say to him?" At this time, Shadow Bunny told them what he said. The shadows were a little surprised. Bai Luo didn't know about this disadvantage. However, this was a very good thing for them. As long as Bai Luo didn't know and mistakenly thought that they were injured, the real body would be injured. This would be the most beneficial for these shadows. They could use this to threaten Bai Luo until they got what they wanted. So the shadows were very happy now. As long as they could follow Bai Luo and the others, the final result would definitely be good. And they didn't have to be careful of Bai Luo and the others anymore. After all, they already knew this, so they could use this knowledge that they misunderstood to threaten Bai Luo. Their next journey should be very smooth, so those shadows were very happy when they thought of this. From their expressions, it can be felt that they have confirmed these things, otherwise, they would not be so calm in this place. So once these things really start, they must pretend to be good, and there must be no flaws. Otherwise, not only will they not be able to reach the underground ruins, but they will also be solved by Bai Luo and his team. So those shadows have now reached an agreement, and must cooperate with each other. Only if they work together can they really beat Bai Luo and his team and finally reach the place they want to go. So those people dare not show too calm, but instead follow Bai Luo closely. Bai Luo and Zero2 are now walking in front, and both are thinking about how to treat them. Bai Luo just checked Zero2's body, and found that he was not seriously injured. He breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, these shadows did not do anything to Zero2, otherwise, Bai Luo would not let them go easily, and would definitely let them try his strength. However, the influence of those shadows on these entities now made Zero2 helpless. If it was really as Bai Luo had just said to him, then wouldn't they have been living under the shadow of these shadows? Then for Zero2, it was simply very painful. He didn't want to affect Bai Luo's next decision because of himself, so at this time Zero2 was thinking about what method to use to avoid all this. This was really a difficult thing. So now Zero2 didn't know what to say, and could only stay quietly beside Bai Luo. Bai Luo could feel that Zero2's mood was not too high, so he patted Zero2's shoulder and said to him with a smile, "Don't worry, take it one step at a time. I believe we can succeed." Bai Luo's words were very calm. Although he knew that those shadows were a threat to Hangzhou and others, Bai Luo believed that he could eliminate all threats and would not let his friends be intimidated like this. So Bai Luo was thinking about how to deal with it. If the shadows wanted to hurt themselves, Bai Luo would stop them immediately and make them stand there without moving. In this way, these entities would not be harmed. What Bai Luo cared about most now was whether the Saint and the Holy Land would agree to let him take these shadows back to the underground ruins after he returned. After all, that place was very sacred to the entire Holy Land, and these shadows were originally evil things derived from there. So if they knew that these shadows came to the Holy Land, the elders might be furious. After all, these shadows turned the entire Holy Land upside down, and now they were going to do something even more excessive. The elders would definitely be even more annoyed because of these things. So when Bai Luo thought of this, he already understood that everything he was going to face next would definitely not be so easy. If he hadn't recognized these things clearly, then the final result would definitely surprise them. So at this time, Bai Luo knew even more clearly that what he was going to do now could not have any mistakes. Once there were some deviations, he would not be able to really settle it all. So after Bai Luo thought of this, he was very nervous and did not dare to have any problems. Once his problems occurred, the troubles that would eventually come would definitely not be easily settled by them. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar released this novel for the first time, so Bai Luo could only lead them back. Along the way, they were all very quiet. Only Bai Luo and Zero2 spoke occasionally, as if they had nothing to do with the others. Especially Bai Luo. Now he didn't want to pay attention to them, because these shadows were threatening him and helping them to do these things, which made Bai Luo feel very uncomfortable. Once he was threatened, he would feel the malice around him. So Bai Luo was so cautious, otherwise, he would never do these things so easily. Next, just look at everything they did, and you will know what the final result will be. The Saint and our Yang Chen are still in that place, continuing to cover the entire area. The shadows didn't attack Bai Luo just now, because their strength was affected to a certain extent, so they had no way to defeat Bai Luo. That's why they use this method to let Bai Luo help them accomplish these things. Chapter 321 Complexity. The Saint was still releasing her power outside. He didn't know when Bai Luo would come back, so he could only hold on until Bai Luo came back. Bai Luo remembered the Saint and the others at this time. They must still be supporting the barriers in that place. If the time was longer, the damage to the Saint would be greater. So Bai Luo immediately planned to return there to help the Saint relieve some of the burden. In this way, the Saint would not be affected too much. Now Bai Luo sped up a bit. The shadows saw Bai Luo so anxious, although they didn't understand, but this was a good thing for them. So they all followed Bai Luo and started to move forward quickly in that place. Xiaotu now understood that Bai Luo was so anxious, he must have his own ideas, so he didn't have any doubts, but followed Bai Luo and started to move forward quickly in that place. They shortened the journey just to return to that place as soon as possible and replace the Saint, but mistakes were always made in a hurry. When Bai Luo and the others were rushing there, they suddenly felt a sandstorm coming towards them. From the situation, it was clear that the sandstorm was quite powerful. They saw its terrible destructive power from afar. Wherever the sandstorm passed, all the trees were uprooted and swept up to the sky by the wind, and the yellow sand filled the sky. This made Bai Luo a little puzzled. Why did such a severe weather suddenly appear? Now Bai Luo could only think of a way to take them away from this place. So at this time, Bai Luo said loudly to them, "Why are you still standing there? Get out of this place quickly, otherwise, we will be the ones who get hurt." Bai Luo now understood that none of these shadows could get hurt, otherwise, Xiaotu and our Yangzu would be finished, so Bai Luo had to protect them now. So Bai Luo could only put them all behind him and resist these things by himself, because the sandstorm moved very quickly and was about to reach them. Bai Luo used his own power to set restrictions everywhere and at the same time stop the things in the center of the sandstorm so that he could completely stop the huge monster in front of him. So Bai Luo's actions were without any doubts. He exerted all his strength in one go. In this way, those shadows realized how strong Bai Luo's power was. They couldn't help but feel a little regretful at this time. Why couldn't they copy Bai Luo's shadow? Once Bai Luo's shadow was copied, would they still have to worry about them? But they also understood that such a huge power could not be copied at all, because at that time, there would definitely be a huge disorder. Because such a powerful force, if two people were at the same time, it would cause damage to the order of the entire world. So no matter from which aspect, Bai Luo's shadow could not be copied. So no matter how helpless those shadows felt, they could only endure these things. After Bai Luo stopped the sandstorm, he immediately added some power to it, letting them evaporate little by little until these powers could be completely eliminated. At that time, it could be concluded that the sandstorm was eliminated by him. Bai Luo stood steadily in front. Xiaotu wanted to help, but seeing that Bai Luo didn't say anything, he didn't make a move, but waited quietly on the side. If Bai Luo needs help, then Xiaotu will definitely help him first. Xiaotu is afraid that his actions will break their current stable situation, so he must think clearly first, otherwise, he doesn't know what will happen. So Xiaotu is very cautious now, and those shadows are hiding behind Bai Luo, not wanting to deal with it at all. Since Bai Luo can help them solve it, why should they waste time here? Anyway, Bai Luo can do it, so they might as well watch here. Maybe they can avoid this thing that usually scares them without spending any effort. So those shadows have found a way to escape in this place, so they won't take any initiative. They also want to see Bai Luo get hurt, so that they have a greater hope of defeating Bai Luo. The things that those shadows are thinking about now are very complicated. Anyway, after thinking about it, they don't want to help Bai Luo. Now only Xiaotu feels sorry for Bai Luo. However, Bai Luo's power did not need to be worried about by those shadows. After all, Bai Luo could easily solve these problems. So after Bai Luo stopped the entire sandstorm, he pushed hard, and the thing broke, and turned into wind directly, without any destructive power at all. It was as if the terrible weather that just swept the entire area was not him. Bai Luo saw that the weather in front of him was already sunny and windy, and now his mood was much better. At least these things were settled, so he would take these shadows back, and have a good talk with the saint. Bai Luo was originally in a bit of a bad mood. The sandstorm just now was undoubtedly sent up to vent Bai Luo's anger. After Bai Luo's anger was released, he could feel that his mood seemed to have become a little better. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR published this novel for the first time. It seems that they can't suppress everything in their hearts. Otherwise, once they suppress it for a long time, they will be easily affected. So Bai Luo understands that it seems that he needs to vent his emotions reasonably. In this way, he can really break it all. So now Bai Luo is very determined and can't be affected by anything. So now Bai Luo can stay here calmly. As long as these things can be solved, then for Bai Luo, all this is acceptable. Otherwise, it is still unknown what kind of impact it will have on these things. So as long as they can solve these things stably in this place, then the final result will definitely be as smooth as they think. So now Bai Luo is very confident. Otherwise, it is still unknown what kind of impact it will be. Now they just need to continue to persist in this place, then there will be no problem with these things. After solving the problem just now, Bai Luo now only needs to return to their original place. The saint can feel that her power is disappearing rapidly, but Bai Luo's time away is not too long. All he can do is to persist in this place. Chapter 322 Return. The Great Elder and our Yang Chen on the side were not idle either, and they also sent some power to the saint. However, because our Yang Chen's power was different from that of the saint, the Great Elder contributed the most. When they were supporting together in that place, Bao Yang Chen would watch from the side, and if there was any danger, he would eliminate the danger as soon as possible. At this time, they were very cautious, fearing that any small crisis would destroy the temporary balance. They all knew that these things could not be easily affected, so now they were very strict about everything around them, fearing that there would be any problems. At that time, they would have no way to solve all this peacefully, so they were very cautious now, and did not dare to have any problems at all. In this way, it can be felt how complicated their operation of these things is, and it is not easy for ordinary people to solve it. So now they must wait carefully in this place. Only when these things are really settled, can they provide some help to Bai Luo. So at this time, the three of them were working diligently in this place, and Bai Luo and the others were getting closer and closer to the location of the saint. Bai Luo led the way in front. Those shadows knew that they would return there soon. Then they could go to the underground ruins as they wished, and find the most beneficial things for them. Then they would not have to fear Bai Luo and his men anymore. But these shadows thought too simply. How could Bai Luo let them realize their wishes easily? And what Bai Luo wanted now was to get rid of them on the way. In this way, it would not affect the Holy Land, and would not let the plans of these shadows succeed. Then it would be most helpful for Bai Luo. So he and Xiao walked in front, and ignored those shadows. Anyway, they would definitely follow him. If Bai Luo was still in this place, and stared at them all the time, they would definitely feel very uncomfortable. At that time, it was hard to say what kind of trouble would happen. Bai Luo did not want to waste time with them, because of these things. So Bai Luo walked slowly in front. But Bai Luo knew that no matter how much he delayed, all this would be impossible, so he had to make sure it was done. All these things are now in front of Bai Luo. Since he is about to arrive there, he will talk to the Saint Lady. After he arrives there, the Saint Lady will definitely feel confused, because she definitely does not want these shadows to go to the underground ruins of the Holy Land. So Bai Luo must think clearly no matter what. Bai Luo must explain these things to the Saint Lady and do his job well. Only in this way can he feel relieved. At this time, Bai Luo finally arrived here. He has returned to the original place and saw our Yang Chen, the Saint Lady and the Great Elder not far away. Bai Luo understood that they would have to talk about these things next. At this time, the saint lady felt Bai Luo's arrival and stopped the power in her hand because she could feel that there were other powers around Bai Luo, and some of these powers were the same as those shadows. It seems that Bai Luo brought all the shadows back, so the saint lady stopped her hand, which scared our Yang Chen and the great elder on the side. What's going on? Saint, is there any problem? After hearing this, the saint shook her head, looked into the distance, and said to them, Bai Luo has brought them back, so there is no need for me to limit their power here. After the saint said this, she calmed her breathing in that place. She had to quickly restore her strength. Only in this way could she be sure that there would be no accidents. At this time, Bao Yang Chen and the great elder followed the saint's gaze and found that Bai Luo and Xiao were walking towards them. Behind them were naturally those shadows. What surprised Dao Yang Chen was that he actually saw his own shadow among them. And that shadow looked exactly like him. Why is there my shadow? Dao Yang Chen was shocked now. The saint and the great elder watched quietly in that place. Seeing that the shadows following Bai Luo were basically people they were familiar with, they knew how powerful these shadows were now. It was really unbelievable that they had developed so many people in such a short time. So at this moment they didn't know what to say and could only pin all their hopes on Bai Luo. Now Bai Luo would be so calm in that place, smiling at them, and then he slowly walked in front of them and said to the saint, Bao Yang Chen, and the great elder, we are back. Xiao is fine. I want to talk to you about these shadows. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR released this novel for the first time. Bai Luo's expression indicated that it seemed that these things were not so easy, otherwise, Bai Luo would not be so serious. At this time, Xiao, Bao Yang Chen, and the saint exchanged greetings for a while and found that Xiao was not hurt, and Bao Yang Chen felt relieved. What are they going to do? Why did all these shadows follow you back? They don't want us to help them solve something, right? Otherwise, how could they be so obedient and follow you? The saint now roughly guessed their thoughts. Bai Luo nodded after hearing what the saint said. It's almost the same as you guessed, but their request is still very important, and all of this must be agreed by you. So Bai Luo took the saint away and slowly communicated with them in that place. After seeing Bai Luo and his actions, the shadows were wondering what Bai Luo was going to do, and why he suddenly took the saint away. Could it be that he had something to say behind their backs? At this time, those people didn't know what to say. They could only wait there and tell their companions at the same time. Let's wait here and see what else they will do. I think they should have known these things. Bai Luo would not dare to abandon us easily, so we just need to wait here. After saying this, the shadows didn't say anything. Xiao and Ao Yang Chen were sitting aside with the great elder. Chapter 323 Discussion. The two of them looked at the shadows and were very surprised. How did they make these things? Why are they exactly the same as us? I thought there was nothing wrong, but I didn't expect that they actually had my shadow. It's really strange. They didn't cause any harm to you, right? When Ao Yang Chen asked at that place, Xiao shook his head and told him, these shadows are very powerful. Their power is exactly the same as ours, and it seems that if they hurt us, they will be affected by it. So it should be quite complicated to think about it. So now after Xiao said this, they can only wait for the results of Bai Luo and the saints' discussion, because they all understand that these things are not so easy to solve, especially when these things are placed in front of them. They seem very dangerous. If they are still affected by these things, then they must think of a strategy to deal with them. So Bai Luo started talking to the saint. Just now when I went to deal with Xiao, I saw these shadows. They were talking in that place, and it seemed that, if they were hurt, their real bodies would be affected. You saw that there was Xiao, Bao Yangsu, Lengai and Ao Yang Chen's shadows there. If it is really as they said, and they are hurt, then their real bodies will be hurt. Once they commit suicide, then the other people and our friends will be affected. So I dare not take the risk, and can only agree to their request. Their request is that I take them back to the underground ruins. I know that the underground ruins are a very sacred place for the Holy Land, so I was forced to agree at that time. Now I'm back here, facing you. I don't know how to say it. Bai Luo couldn't actually say this to the saint. After all, as the saint of the Holy Land, how could the saint allow ordinary people to enter there at will? Once there is any problem, the saint will definitely be blamed by the Holy Land, so he didn't dare to make such a move. Bai Luo just agreed, and now he is back to the saint, and he doesn't know how to say it to the saint. After the saint learned the details, she understood the problem they were facing. If they disagreed, then these shadows would hurt their friends. So the saint was quite entangled at this moment, and she didn't know how to say these words. Now Bai Luo was standing in front of the saint. The saint knew that, even if Bai Luo didn't say so, she would agree to do so for the safety of those friends. But now the saint knew what the underground ruins meant to them. If he didn't tell the elders, once the elders knew that he brought outsiders in there, then he would be finished. Now the saint could only be forced to agree. He looked at Bai Luo and said to him, "There is no other way. We can only do this. Otherwise, if they really hurt other people, then the two of us will not be able to settle these things." Bai Luo, you don't have to blame yourself too much. I know these things. You have made great efforts, so I'm very grateful to you. But now these things. I will talk to the elders of the Holy Land. Don't worry, I will let them agree to these things. I will personally make it clear with the Holy Land. Leave it to me. Bai Luo knew how much confidence the saint had in making such a move, because he could imagine how much opposition the elders of the Holy Land would have if they heard what the saint said about letting those people outside enter their Holy Land. So if the saint told those elders would be very angry. They don't understand why their saint did such a thing, and they would think that the saint was deliberately shielding these people. The saint would definitely be suspected by them, but in order to save her friend, she agreed to these things, which made Bai Luo understand that the saint was the same as he imagined. However, Bai Luo understood that he could not really let the saint take all these things on her alone, so Bai Luo said to the saint there, "Saint, thank you very much, but don't worry, I will provide you with some help." Some words cannot be said openly, so Bai Luo could only hint to the saint there, telling him that he would try to delay time, so that these shadows would not reach there. The saint had to make it clear to the elders and let them set up an ambush there first. In this way, as long as they delay long enough, they can buy more time for the Holy Land. Once they find a solution to these shadows and set up certain traps in the underground ruins, they can successfully solve these shadows. Bai Luo is afraid of these shadows now, simply because he is not sure whether hurting them will hurt the real bodies. If he does not have this concern, Bai Luo may not be afraid of them at all, and may even let them be attacked by him in this place. Now Bai Luo is undoubtedly being held at the gate of life, so he dare not act rashly. This is the superbness of those shadows. They must first control the softest part of Bai Luo's heart, so that they can get a safe treatment in this place. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book bar released this novel for the first time. Bai Luo and the saint have now understood it, and they will come back from that place. Now the saint has to find an opportunity to contact the elders of the Holy Land, so they still need to wait for a while. At this time, Bai Luo said to the shadows, "Since I have promised you, I will definitely take you there, so you have to believe me. However, before returning to that place, we have to rest here first, because we still have a lot of questions to ask. Once we don't explain clearly, it will be affected. You don't want your things to be affected, so if you want to stay here safely until the end, I still hope you can follow our arrangements." After saying this, the shadows looked at each other. Now Shadow Bunny has become the leader of these shadows, so after hearing what Bai Luo said, he said to Bai Luo, "Can we trust you? You won't kill us all if we stay here?" At this time, Bai Luo shook his head and said to him, "I didn't. How could I dare to do that?" Chapter 324, Strategy. After all, you know what we are worried about. You can stay here without worry. I have never broken my promise. If you are willing to believe, just wait here. If you don't believe, I can't do anything. After hearing what Bai Luo said, the shadows knew that they could no longer resist. Otherwise, once Bai Luo gave up these things and didn't let them go back, wouldn't their efforts for so long be in vain? So for those shadows, this is absolutely impossible to allow to happen. Since Bai Luo didn't dare to hurt them easily, then they should not be affected too much if they stayed here for a while. So those shadows all talked in that place. Now that those shadows gathered together, Bai Luo looked a little dazed. If they were not shadows, Bai Luo really thought that it was Xiaotu and the others who were talking there. At this time, Xiaotu and our Yangchen came to Bai Luo and the saint, looked at the saint and Bai Luo, and said to them, "What did you two say just now? It can't be something very important, right? Is there anything we can help with?" After hearing this, Bai Luo repeated those words to Xiaotu and our Yangchen. After hearing this, the two of them didn't expect that the shadows asked for such a thing. They looked at the saint and said to her, "I'm so sorry, saint. You are threatened because of us. We will try our best to help you and will not let those people go back to that place." Gao Yangchen and Xiaotu were particularly embarrassed now because their shadows were here, so Bai Luo was naturally concerned about their safety, but the saint didn't want to see her friends apologize to her, so she laughed there. "These have nothing to do with you. These people have nothing to do with you. Don't blame yourself. We will find a way to stop these people from returning to the underground ruins, because there is not only our most sacred place, but also the most powerful place for these shadows. Once we let them return to their lair, the consequences will be disastrous. So I must communicate with the elders of the Holy Land and ask them to find the method recorded in the ancient books to eliminate these shadows more quickly. We have to delay some time on the road, so we need your cooperation next." After saying this, Bao Yangchen and Xiaotu nodded. Of course, they would cooperate well in this place. After all, they didn't want the saint to fall into danger. So at this time, they were all in that place, saying to the saint, "Don't worry, saint. As long as you are sure, we will definitely help you here. As long as you need any help, you can tell me. Gao Yangchen, Bai Luo and I will definitely spare no effort to help the Holy Land and avoid the danger this time." They knew that this was a crisis for the Holy Land. All these shadows had to return to that place, which meant that they had a bigger conspiracy, so Bai Luo and the others knew that they had to take intervention measures. At this time, the Great Elder who was waiting on the side came here, and the saint called him aside and said these words to him. After the Great Elder understood these contents, to the saint's surprise, he did not express his objection, but nodded instead. "Since you have said so, saint, then as a citizen of the Holy Land, I will naturally obey all your arrangements." After saying this, the Great Elder bowed to the saint devoutly, which made the saint somewhat flattered. She originally thought that the Great Elder would be furious after hearing this, thinking that she should not do this. Unexpectedly, the Great Elder not only did not think that way, but agreed to these words very calmly, which made the saint not know what to say at this moment. "Grand Elder, do you really think so? If you support me here, then no matter what happens next, I will not be afraid." After hearing this, the Grand Elder smiled and said to the saint, "Of course I support you. You are the saint of our Holy Land. No matter what you say, all of our elders will listen to you. Don't have too much pressure. Since Bai Luo said that he would help us delay in secret, then we can work together to solve these problems. I believe we can deal with these shadows." The Grand Elder heard this and had some opposition at first. After all, these shadows were going to the most important place in the Holy Land. How could they be allowed to enter that place at will? However, when the saint said that Bai Luo would help them in secret, the Grand Elder's worries disappeared. He knew Bai Luo's strength too well. As long as Bai Luo did these things, he would definitely be able to solve these problems. Then why should they worry about this place? So he readily agreed, which was beyond the saint's expectation. But since the Great Elder had no objection, it meant that the remaining elders in the Holy Land would not have much objection. So now the saint must contact the people in the Holy Land again. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar released this novel for the first time. At this time, the shadows all sat down in this place, and Bai Luo said to them, "You all rest here for a while, and I will call you when we set off." After saying this, the shadows at this time did not worry too much. Anyway, Bai Luo did not dare to attack them, so they lay down comfortably in that place. Xiaotu and our Yangchen sat beside Bai Luo and said helplessly, "What is the way to completely eliminate them? It won't be like what you said. As long as we eliminate them, we will all die. When Liang Chen heard Zhao to say these words, he was stunned. He did not expect them to have such a discovery. What's going on? It's too outrageous. How can these replicas affect the main body? Shouldn't we be the ones affecting them? Why are they affecting us? Liang Chen was very confused. Although Bai Luo felt that what Liang Chen said made sense, he couldn't object. After all, this was what he had just felt from the mouths of those shadows. Although Bai Luo was not sure if this was true, he didn't dare to take the risk. Chapter 325 Worry. If the real bodies were affected after the attack on the shadows, then wouldn't it be too late to regret it? Even though they were threatened, Bai Luo didn't dare to act rashly, so he could only endure it here. I don't know if it's true. Anyway, what they said is very real, as if the shadows deliberately told me. Although I can't be sure, I can't take the risk. If you are attacked because of this, then I won't be able to calm it down at all. So what I can do now is just to be obedient here. I hope you think so. We must follow them first. Otherwise, once they are angry, I don't know what will happen. After Bai Luo said this, he could clearly feel that they had reached a consensus on these things, so there was no need to worry about it next. So at this time, they all stopped here, and they could feel the quiet atmosphere. Now the shadows were resting there. They didn't say anything, for fear of arousing Bai Luo's suspicion. They now knew that Bai Luo still thought that, as long as they hurt them, those original bodies would be affected, so they had to pretend this point, and they had to pretend, until Bai Luo had no doubt, that was when they would truly win. So now they had to demonstrate all of this carefully, so that Bai Luo and the others could not see any problems, otherwise, all their efforts would be in vain. Once they thought of this, they were particularly clear about the significance of these things to them, so at this time they did not dare to say anything, and could only stay here calmly. To the surprise of Bai Luo and Liang Chen, these shadows did not object at all, but lay there obediently. Bai Luo understood that there must be some problem, but Bai Luo could not be sure where the problem was, so he could only continue to look down here to see if he could find something that would ultimately benefit them. Once these things were confirmed, then Bai Luo could do truly easy things, so at that time Bai Luo would no longer have to be afraid of them. Bai Luo was now waiting for the conclusion of the saint, and the saint had contacted the elders of the Holy Land. The saint did not directly tell them what they were going to do next, but only told them that they were going back now, taking those shadows with them. So the saint said to the elders during the transmission, I hope everyone will find a solution as soon as possible. We are bringing those shadows back to the Holy Land now, in order to annihilate them in one fell swoop. So during this period of time, we will try to delay as much as possible to buy you more time. During this period of time, you must quickly find their weaknesses. Only in this way can we catch them all in one fell swoop when we return. So elders, this time it will be hard for you. You can ask Liangzu and Leng Yu to help you find these useful things. The elders now realized how serious the situation was. Their saint was about to come back, and she was still taking those shadows with her, so they had to find a useful method before they came back, otherwise, none of them would be able to settle these things smoothly. So after thinking about it, they have now confirmed these things, and they all nodded at that place, and said to the saint, yes, saint, don't worry, we will definitely solve these things, and will never hold you back. After saying this, the saint disappeared there, and his communication with the elders of the Holy Land ended here. The elder had been watching from the side, and could feel how entangled the saint was when she said these things just now. But fortunately, they have already made it clear to the people in the Holy Land, so the elder said to the saint at this time, it seems that we only need to stay in this place, and follow them back, and we don't have to worry anymore. It seems that we have to think of other ways on the way. We must not let them return to the Holy Land, otherwise, we don't know what they will do. After saying this, the two people at this time have confirmed these things, so now Bai Luo and the others don't have to worry anymore. With the help of the saint, the next step should be smoother. Bai Luo would not let these shadows go easily. Once he found out that they were lying to him, Bai Luo would let them know how powerful he really was. So now Bai Luo was just hiding the tyrannical murderer Sora in his heart. At this time, the saint came back and came to Bai Luo's side and said to Bai Luo, I have already talked to the elders of the Holy Land. They know what we should do, so we can set off whenever you want to. After hearing this, Bai Luo looked at the shadows lying in the distance and didn't feel anything wrong. He said to the saint, wait a little longer. Anyway, what we have to do is to delay time. So from now on, the longer they can stay in this place, the more we have to let them be like this. So don't worry now. When they get impatient and urge us, we will set off. In this way, we can delay time from now on. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR published this novel for the first time. The Saintess and the others followed Bai Luo's arrangement. Gao Yang Chen and Zhao Tu stared at their own shadows from time to time. They really wanted to go up and fight with them and then defeat them so that they could not threaten Bai Luo with this. But they could not determine the level of these people, so they could only watch quietly from that place. Bai Luo, the Saintess and the Great Elder sat there and continued to discuss the next things. Actually, Bai Luo, I believe in you, so I allow you to do this. If it was someone else who wanted to go to the underground ruins of the Holy Land, I might have dealt with them by now. But Bai Luo, I believe that you must have a way to settle all this. When the Great Elder said this, he was very sincere. After hearing this, Bai Luo quickly nodded and said to the Great Elder, don't worry, Great Elder, since I have promised you, it means that this matter will not happen. No matter what, I will contain them and prevent them from reaching the final place. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.